supposed to say again?
What kind of podcast is this?
Oh! This is Bad Playstyle. We're a video game book club podcast wherein we talk about the video game we played this week.
NSFW?
Yeah, we swear a lot. And we're gonna fucking spoil the shit out of this game.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what about secrets?
Yeah, we're gonna ruin all the secrets.
Such as?
Such as Bastil is really your mom.
I said dad.
Doesn't matter.
I don't think we're meant to be understandable. So it's kind of a design feature. Welcome to Bad Playstyle. My name is Matthew.
I'm Owen.
Nicias.
I'm still Keenan, which is great. Also, I realized yesterday we have not said that Bad Playstyle is a place where any playstyle is acceptable in a while.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, we haven't been bumping our core ethos.
Yeah.
Still,
So
Keenan, that's a great point.
I wanted to get in there on that. Yeah.
So I've been watching a new YouTuber called Civvy11.
Yeah.
And his whole thing is he plays old FPSs, like Doom era
yeah,
stuff.
This guy.
He plays
Okay.
like Doom and Sin and Blood and like
all those one-word same engine
Yeah.
games.
all those build engine games. And he's got like this. He has this machismo thing where I don't play on easy.
Sure.
And this is a nice segue to our thing of go fuck yourself.
Yeah, play in whatever difficulty you want.
Play
man.
how you need to enjoy it.
I mean, also though, like if I'm looking for that type of YouTube channel, like that's kind of what I'm coming for, though.
I don't begrudge him doing that, right? Like, okay, I should be clear. Civi's content, I think, is better for him having a hard time in these old FPSs occasionally. But like, if you're playing video games, you should enjoy that.
Yeah. I think his shtick is by design, though.
Yeah.
Those games on easy are stupid.
Yeah.
They're so easy, right? And the thing about those games that I remember is that every time you bump the difficulty up, it's a different fucking world.
Yeah.
Like, the game functions in a fundamentally different way as far as enemy AI in most of those games. In that era, where, like, in hard mode, they move and shoot instead of move, then shoot, right? Like,
Well, I would like to stop talking about legendary outer space alien Carmack and start talking about
yeah, good
hey,
point.
what did we play this month?
This episode, we played Fallout New Vegas.
Which is part of why we had the previous episode.
Yeah. So December's a nightmare. So we just decided to fuck it. Usually we meet every 2 weeks, and that wasn't working. So Fallout New Vegas is a big game. Why not marinate in it? Stew in that shit.
Take your time.
And so I'm
Fallouting.
going to check back in. Are we at the end of our Fallout train, or do the listeners have more to look forward to?
I don't know.
You still don't know.
I still don't know.
We're still waiting on that.
I haven't looked back in on New California.
Okay. All right. I want to play New California, but I don't want to play it if we're going to do it for the podcast.
Okay, just
Yeah.
hold off on it.
No, I mean, I am. I'm just...
I'm gonna play it at some point, regardless
Yeah, me too.
of how it turned out.
Right, but he's saying he doesn't want to go into it if it's a podcast episode.
Oh
Like,
yeah. But yeah, we'll see. The last time I tried to check in on the mod, there hadn't been an update to it, but it was supposed to have the 1.0 release in December, and I haven't checked in since the new year started. So it's presumably out by now, but who knows?
Shit happens in development too, man.
Yeah.
Question. Should we have a term / do we have a term for finishing the game so early you don't fucking remember it?
I think we need one.
Yeah.
Owning yourselves?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, because I finished this game like 3 weeks ago.
Well, I think the person who has done that the most
Yeah.
is you. So.
Oh, yeah.
You're either in or you're not on a game in a profound way.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, that's a fact.
So, all right. So I'm not... I did not own myself on this one.
Okay.
you definitely did on Shadowrun, though.
Yeah.
You played Shadowrun Hong Kong like 3 times while we played it once.
Well, so that I didn't, though, because I beat it, and then I waited like half a week, and then I beat it 1.5 more times.
Okay, sorry. Not
like
3, but...
2 days before we had episode.
Did it so much you've like created a blur of your own memories.
Yeah, it was great. Speaking of games that aren't Fallout New Vegas,
Yeah. What game are you bringing up?
I was going to talk about the games we've been playing lately.
Oh, cool.
I'll go first. I've been playing a lot of Divinity 2, and very recently I roped another member of this podcast who's not Owen into playing it with me.
Very recently, like today.
Yeah.
Day of recording.
I'd love to hear your thoughts on the matter. The listeners already know that I think it's a great game, and the numbers are a beautiful panoply of swirling relationships that make my mind tingle.
Yeah, we were kind of talking about this before we came over. That game, while not incredibly narratively incredible,
yeah, Rivellon's kind of a dog shit setting.
It's kind of like
I mean,
bland.
besides the elves that eat people.
No, so that's the thing. It's like it's this generally bland setting with some cool ideas in it, right? And I was saying, you asked me like sort of how it felt after we like powered through like 4 hours together, and I was saying like, okay, I don't really give a shit about this narrative, but there's enough going on in the game that I want to keep playing. Like the systems in the game, the environments. It's a really fucking like pretty CRPG in a way that like I loaded the game in and was like, whoa, I forgot these games had the potential to look this way.
Well,
like,
and we talked about this on Fallout 1. The game's just fun to play.
Right.
Yeah.
And we were talking about like the multiplayer thing brings this other dimension to it that
I really like that it's a CRPG that's multiplayer.
well, and they really effectively make those things work.
Yeah.
I was really blown away the first time you're like, I'm gonna fight, help! And I run over, and as soon as I get in range, I'm in combat. Instead of it being like, you're 4 screens away, fuck you, use your turns, the way some games would do that.
Yeah.
I really thought, like, okay, someone thought about, like, how do we make this flow well? In a way that made that experience, like, cool instead of frustrating, the way other games have before. And then so, I feel like there's a lot of stuff in that game, the way the environmental stuff works in combat, the way... even the way, like, doing crimes is cooperative.
Oh, yeah, we had to cooperate to do crimes, because one guy has to be like, hey, man, what's up? And then the other guy pickpockets him. And you're like, hey, dude, you clear? And he's like, I'm clear. And it's like, hey, fuck off. And then I leave.
Yeah, like, when you go into sneak mode in this game, you get cones of vision for everyone in the area.
Oh, that's cool.
And so, the first time I tried to steal stuff, I was playing it like old school game, where I'm just like, no, I got this. And then this lady's like, hey! What the fuck are you doing? And we end up fighting her, and she kills us both, and we reload. I think we reloaded because it was fucked. Like,
well,
the situation.
We reloaded because I was like, hey, this is like a person with thoughts and dreams, and like you shouldn't do this.
Okay. So. Clearly I wasn't on that level yet.
No.
But then, so, like...
Is it like every other game where, like, if they catch you stealing, it's immediately a life and death battle with whoever's there?
No, there was a conversation.
Yeah, there's a conversation.
And, like, if you have the right skills and stuff, you can be like, oh, I was stealing shit.
You can lie your way out, or one of the ones that happened is I only stole, like, a really low value item
from someone. You stole, like, an orange from somebody, and they were like, hey, you steal my orange? And you're like, yeah, here's your orange. And they were like, get the fuck out of here.
like that kind of thing can come up instead. But that's a dialogue option once that happens. That does.
I've been thinking a lot lately about a quote I heard on Twitter, where it's a stealth game is only as good as what happens when you fuck up and fail stealth.
That's absolutely true. What are your options after that?
I remember the lady from Double Bear. Or is that
Double Fine?
No.
Annie Van Beer?
Yeah, I listened to her at PAX once, and she was talking about how, like...
Or no, Annie Mitsoda.
Yeah, Annie Mitsoda, right. Thank you. She was talking about how, like, if you have crime in your game, you have to have, like, the consequences for crime in your game, but they can't just be like, you didn't save scum, fuck you. It has to be, like, fun to be in jail.
Yeah.
Right? Like I think the only game where it's ever been fun to be in jail is Oblivion.
I was just about to point that out. Like that system works.
Or no, it was Skyrim. I got put in jail, but I was a werewolf, so I picked the lock and then werewolfed out, and everyone was like, oh my god, it's a werewolf, and then I killed everybody and left, and everyone was like, dude, did you hear there was a werewolf in the jail? And I was like, yeah, I heard about that. But, like, they thought it was a werewolf, not me, right? So,
and that is a great example of a system working within the grand scheme of the game.
Right.
And Matt, doing crimes in that game reminded me of Payday. Dude, it brought back that feeling.
I was watching a Rainbow Six YouTuber the other day, and they were on the bank level, and they all like stacked up on one of the ceiling hatches and shot it and dropped down at the same time, and we're like, "Let's get rich! There's cops! Get the money!" And they were like bashing the money to get it, and they were playing the fucking Vicklin track, and I was like slapping my knee, like yes. fucking track. Damn, that game is so good.
I've been having some Payday nostalgia lately. Yeah, that game is cool. I was telling you, I think it's a toolkit, and I think the game exists as a way to show off the toolkit.
Well, because there's like GM tools. You can make your own game if you wanted to.
But I think that game exists fully to show you, look at all these cool functions we built.
Yeah.
Which is I think that's an interesting way to build a product.
It was like when I first played League of Legends, and I was like, who made League of Legends? And somebody was like, oh, it's this company called Riot. And I was like, I never heard of them. And then I like understood what League of Legends was and how hard it was to build and how you could just keep building it. And I was like, oh, now I get why I've never heard of them.
League of Legends is the Disneyland of video games.
Well, there's certain developers where you're like, I've never heard of them. And you play the game, you're like, I know I never heard of them. Your game sucks. And sometimes you play it, you're like, oh, I get it. You literally put more dev time, like 3 games worth of dev time into your game. That's why I've never heard of it.
This is the only game you
do.
Yeah. And so if you haven't heard of this game, then
you haven't heard of that company.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Anyway, we were talking about games we've been playing.
Yeah, so I wanted to talk about, I made a bunch of 11, 12, and 13-year-old boys in the after-school program I work in play a bracketed Pyre tournament.
Oh, cool.
Hell yes.
It was so fucking fun. Oh my god, they were screaming at each other the entire time. Like, the people who, normally when you do a tournament, you have to, like, work to keep the other people who aren't playing engaged. But this was like, no. They were like, you gotta jump in!
Pyre has the right hooks, and it's also fun to watch in a way that,
no one knew how to do anything, and I didn't explain anything, except for what the stats meant, and what the basic sort of, like, how it worked was.
Okay.
And so, like, they would discover the jump key, and then all of a sudden the meta of who was being picked would change. Right? They really liked Sir Gilman and Sir Deluge, the worm guys.
Yeah.
They were like all about worms.
Yeah. Worms jump really far.
Yeah, but worms can't throw the ball for shit. But it was great. That was the single most fun I've had playing video games with the kids, and I wasn't even playing video games.
That's good.
Yeah, and then we played a little bit of Death Squared, and Death Squared's great. It's a cooperative puzzle game where you die a lot. It's hilarious.
I've never heard of that. I'll have to look into it.
But Death Squared is one of those games, like, sometimes the parents come in and they're overwhelmed by what's happening on the screen, and so they're just like, okay, I'm going to pick up my kid and leave. And sometimes they're like, who's this? Who's this game?
Yo, there's stuff going on
Right,
here.
so with Pyre, the parents were coming in, they're like, I don't understand a single fucking thing that's happening on the screen, and I don't want to. Bye. And then with Death Squared, they're like, what's this? What platforms is it on? How much is it?
How do I buy this for Christmas?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
He's getting all the bare information so that he can experience it.
Yeah, I had 3 different dads ask me the information they needed to purchase this game. So
that
awesome. Was, I feel like that was good. I had another dad come in and go, you getting paid to do this? And I was like, yeah, man, I've set up
Matt,
yeah.
You're now a competitor to Steam and Epic. Because you are a game distributor.
Oh, yeah, I've been distributing. give me $5. Yeah.
Are you, like, shelling keys to parents?
Yeah, it's like, yo, I got Pyre keys. You need some? You know.
You're on a roll. What else have you played?
That was all I wanted to talk about.
Okay.
I mean, I played...
There's the standards.
I played a little bit of the new Warframe content. They got a big new crab boss. It's fun.
It's a new crab in Warframe?
There's a new crab. And
would you say that Crab Battle has come to Warframe?
Yeah, and the Crab Battle's fun.
Okay.
It's one of those things where Warframe has always had the phase bosses, right? And it still does, and they're getting better at it. Because it used to be, I remember in beta, all the bosses were just dudes with lots of health. So the boss fight was really done on the build screen. You'd be like, how do I make this gun kill the boss in one hit?
Your loadout would be my melee weapon, my trash mob's weapon, and my boss.
This was beta, so it was, your loadout wasn't your melee weapon, it was, this is my fucking helicopter.
Oh yeah.
Because you remember we used to copter with Zorans across the map, and with Thibodeau's. And then your secondary was, this is what I'm going to use to get through all the trash, and your primary was, this is the boss gun.
This is the thing I hold down at that thing to die.
And your Rhino, because there's no other option. Because Chroma doesn't exist yet.
Because it's beta.
Yeah, because beta. And that's all I wanted to talk about.
And you've been playing a lot of Divinity.
Oh god, so much Divinity.
We don't need to say more. I just wanted to.
But I own all the save games. That's one thing about it, is that there's like one player, if you're playing multiplayer, who's the host, who the save games are on their system.
Okay.
Right? Which has afforded me the ability to shop not under pressure from my friends.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta say,
I just like load it up and go shop.
I have certain friends who like who in playing Divinity with them, where it's sort of stressful the pace that they are attempting to move at. Like they're playing it as if it's like a Diablo game, and they need to move really fucking quickly through all the story. And like, I'm really happy that another one of my friends started playing the game solo and like kind of knows what's happening next and can be like, "Hey, fucking stop! You're gonna get us killed."
Nice,
right? Like, and that's happened
good.
multiple times, and I'm like, "Thank you," because I oh my god, this is probably all gonna get edited out, but it's stressful. I don't like
I walked in the room the other day and I was like, Matt, that's a lot of fire. And he controlled himself really well. He was almost like, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
And we talked about this after the fact.
Yeah.
But he explained the situation to me later. He's like, yeah, we were in that fire for like 2 hours and you walked in at a time where the fight got worse and said that?
No, because so it's like this. You start, it's oil blobs. And then you kill the oil blobs. And then it's bigger oil blobs. And then it's on fire oil blobs.
Okay.
And so eventually, just the whole area is on fire.
The whole screen.
Is it like, are they like dividing when you kill them or something like that?
No, they're just respawning when you kill like 2/3 of the first wave.
Oh, okay.
Which is worse.
This is waves?
Yeah, it's waves.
Okay.
And you have a dumbass NPC who is like attempting to kill himself by running through all the fire.
Oh, okay.
And if you kill them in the fire, any fire that is contiguous with that fire is now cursed fire, which does double damage and can't be put out.
Wow.
So
I walked in like an asshole without knowing. So
Yeah.
that's a lot of
like
fire.
2.5 hours into this only fight we did that night, and he's like, "That's a lot of fire," and I'm literally about to turn around and tell him to shut the fuck up, get out of the kitchen, and I'm like, he didn't do anything to me. This isn't his fault. I turn around and I'm like, you don't even know, dude.
But he had an edge to it. I was like, cool, done talking about it. Like, got it. It's one of those.
Sometimes it'd be like that.
Yeah, but the game is really gripping, and that was a fight that Brian, enemy of the show, I believe, Brian's enemy of the show, Brian had done in solo, like 3 times and failed.
Mm-hmm.
And we, as a group, the 4 of us, did it in the first try.
Nice.
Like it was hellish. I died twice, and somebody else died once.
Yeah.
Brian died once, but it was like we did it.
All right. Well,
So,
and you
strong
said,
work.
you said one of the other party members was literally in the fire the entire time.
Galen was on fire for 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was the thing. Anyway, what you been playing?
I bought a new game on Steam.
Ooh.
I've been playing Surviving Mars.
Oh yeah, we were talking about that.
Yeah, we haven't had a chance to discuss that with you yet.
Yeah, the game it has mixed reviews on Steam, and I really like it, and I also absolutely understand why it has mixed reviews on Steam.
Why does it have mixed reviews on
Let
Steam?
me jam this in here. It's made by the developers of Tropico 3-5.
Yeah, so it's published by Paradox. It's a city management game on Mars. It's like near-term science fiction. So you're bringing payloads down on rockets and building domed cities and air miners and things like that, and drilling up water and drilling up metals. And like all of its interface is like 70% to where it needs to be. I'm sorry, man.
Kind of like Tropico.
Yeah. So there's like, it's just like everything's just like a little more cumbersome than it should be, and there's a lot just like there's like a polished pass it never got
Right.
that it needs. But it's a super fun like city management game where like you bring colonists in from off world. And you research technologies,
And then there's weird sci-fi shit.
you build rovers, and then it does this thing that Paradox games do.
Stellaris.
Yeah, like Stellaris does, where the Stellaris has the crisis that'll hit you like partway through the game, and sometimes you can kickstart the crisis, and sometimes it just happens to you. And so in Surviving Mars, there is a mystery of Mars, and it's really hard if you're new to the game to finish your mystery. Because I got a middle difficulty mystery on my first game, and it fucking ruined me.
That was the balls, right?
Yeah. So we found we found a perfect metallic sphere about the size of a city block buried out in the middle of the Martian
Which,
desert.
if you've seen any sci-fi with perfect spheres, leave that shit alone.
Yeah, right. So like, this one gives you the option of like starting your mystery when you want, because like you'll just find it. Right.
So it's a sort of a reflection of the crisis going on in our D&D game currently.
Something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
where one of our players has a
terrible weapon of mass destruction on their head.
It's a sphere of annihilation.
So this sphere, like,
Fucking said don't.
when you find it, like, it gives you like this prompt. It's like, hey, do you want to excavate this?
Yeah.
And like you can say yes or no, and you can always go back and excavate.
You can
it.
just go click it and be like,
Yeah.
do it!
Yeah, you can send a little.
Are there robots?
Yeah, you can
Cool.
send a little RC drone thing.
I was
up there
wondering
to
if
go
there's
check it
like
out.
chore robots on Mars.
Oh yeah. It reminds me a lot of Factorio.
Okay.
The like late stage Factorio, when you get all the drones rolling, like I had hundreds of drones just swarming.
Yeah, I remember that. You'd lay a blueprint in your mind, and the drones would be like,
Yeah.
That's when the game starts, if I'm being real about Factorio.
Yeah. That's.
I didn't
for
realize
sure.
until I got there, like, no, now I'm playing Factorio.
But so, anyways, after you excavate it, it's like, hey, we've noticed that when we scan it with our scanners, it absorbs that energy and it vibrates when we do that. Do you want to just transmit just a lot of energy to it? And it's like, yes or no. Like, do this now if you want. And if you do, it gets up out of the ground and starts flying around. And then it starts dividing like a cell and making more and more of them. And then it creates like an artificial winter on your planet and everything freezes. And it annihilated my first home. Anyway, it's a cool game though. I really like it.
I like the save there. That was
Yeah.
good pullback.
Dwarf Fortress has really hardened your heart against being angry that you...
Oh, it made me really mad.
Yeah.
Like I was not insulated from it. I was like, man, fuck that. Like they're just like, how am I supposed to have seen that coming? Fuck this. You know. And then I like started a new game. And
Yeah.
like whatever.
Then you were like, no, put the drip back in.
Also, it has a thing where there's a box of mutators you can check on that'll affect the game's difficulty in huge ways. Most of them disable achievements, but like who cares? Like there's one where so the game deals with stockpiles a lot. Actually, it made me appreciate how good the stockpile system in RimWorld is, because there was a lot of like, I want to set stockpile priorities just so this all runs smoothly, so I don't have to come fiddle with it all the time. Can't.
The stockpile system in RimWorld is pretty good.
Yeah. But like
In a really simple way.
one of the mutators you can check on is the first stockpile you placed every morning, it'll just refill itself.
Okay.
And so the game deals with there's two types. There's stockpiles for universal stockpiles, where it'll save 30 of each space, or it'll store up to 30 of each resource and save space for them.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's also dedicated stockpiles. So it's
For
the first
one resource.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can have like just a food stockpile or whatever. But the first universal stockpile you lay on your save game will refill every morning. That's like one of the ones that like.
So at least you have some to work with.
Yeah,
is the
that's
idea.
one of the ones that like dramatically changes things, because
Yeah.
it means like you will literally never run out of food.
Right. You could go beyond your daily food.
Yeah, that's
Reallotment,
true. That's
but-
true. That's true. And there's like some that are even just like straight up a creative mode, where it's just like you have infinite resources. You can always get more colonists. If you just want to build a nice looking city, it has a really nice photo mode.
You were telling me that like events and conditions on your colony dictate how many colonists are on offer, and I thought that was a really interesting.
Yeah. So like at any given time, there'll be like a pool of applicants, and I might be getting the ratio off. It's like for every 2 colonists that die not of old age on Mars on your colony, 1 gets removed from the applicant pool.
Yeah. So like
they get shook.
which is like a simple measurement, but also like allows so many ways for that to happen.
Yeah.
But I thought that was pretty elegant.
And like the different factions you play as will affect your colonist pool, because like you can play as like some like weird religious Noah's Ark type group.
Hell yeah.
Or you can play as like China, or you can play as an international Mars mission, or you can be with Space Y, which is their SpaceX analog.
Uh-huh.
I like one of those options.
Yeah. You can be spacey.
Email us at badplaystyle@gmail.com to guess which one. If you get it right, I will send you a game on Steam.
We got so many game codes, y'all.
So I played as a few of the different factions. Japan's really good. Like they have like the least applicants. but their builder robots are super fucking
Hell
good.
yeah. Japan is good at robots.
Yeah.
This is true.
Japan's good at living on Mars. Shikata Ganai, man.
Any other games?
I played Diablo 3.
Yeah, we were doing that.
Diablo 3's doing its Diablo 1 anniversary
Well,
event.
more importantly, you bought a DLC for like what, a 15-year-old game?
Yeah. It's not 15-year-olds. It came out in 2013
Okay.
or
Yeah,
2012.
but Diablo 1 is 20 years old, and we played the shit out of Diablo
Yeah.
1
Yeah, so they did this.
in Diablo 3.
They did this thing where they recreated the original Diablo in Diablo 3, where it has all 16 levels of the original cathedral, and it puts this like filter over everything.
This is like weird pixel filter
Yeah,
on Diablo 3 assets.
This like sort of like down-resing limited color palette.
Sepia tone?
No.
Sepia tone?
It's not really sepia
Gauss tone? Goss tone?
It's more just like bumping it down to like a 16 color graphics card.
Yeah,
or something.
it's very reductive in how it
Yeah.
changes the
Nest
visuals.
tone.
Yeah.
Like the original Diablo was on the PS1 for
Oh, yeah.
perspective.
Yeah.
It also makes it so your character can only walk in the 8 cardinal directions.
Yeah.
You snap 2
And
directions.
you
when
always
walk.
use the walk animation even if you're running because there was no running in Diablo 1.
Yeah. Your character still moves the same speed. It just
Yeah.
looks that way.
It's also really weird to feel like you're playing Diablo 1 with like Diablo 2 or 3 characters.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, to be like a necromancer.
To be like a barbarian, be like, "Hua!" Just jump everywhere in
Puts a
Diablo
bunch
1.
of the old items in, including like items that were popular with hackers on BattleNet in the 90s, which is like my favorite part.
Yeah, there was a huge nostalgia bomb the first time we
Yeah.
cracked it open.
So what were you playing as?
I was a barbarian because
Okay,
I
so you
haven't
were
played a barbarian.
You were
very
going to
much in
yop
3.
that bitch?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
And I did. A lot.
Right? And then you were
I'm playing a necromancer named Buck Nasty.
Yeah.
He's
What was your barbarian's name?
Garignac.
Garignac.
Those are both really good names.
Yeah. Originally, when we started the season, literally the day before the season ended, I spelled it Gorgonac, but I accidentally deleted him, and it solved all those problems.
Yeah, it was a whole thing.
So, just for the uninitiated, what is Garignac a reference to?
Garignac is the thing the blue aliens in Galaxy Quest yell about their rock monster.
I mean, are we to assume it's the rock monster's name?
It is, but it's also just them yelling rock a lot.
Yeah, Garignac literally just means rock.
Okay.
So,
didn't remember
and
that
what is
detail.
what is Buck Nasty?
I can't remember. It's something someone says in a Dave Chappelle sketch, and it always struck me as like a really funny necromancer name. My necromancer in Diablo 2 was often named Buck Nasty.
Okay.
It's a common name. I've seen it in many games with multiple people.
Yeah.
Buck Nasty is
I've
a
only
thing.
ever seen Owen use Buck Nasty.
Yeah, I got another friend in a different group who's into Buck Nasty.
Owen, you should eat him.
Yeah. I'll summon a skeleton out of him.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh man. The fucking corpse train that we create when
Oh,
we're
yeah.
a barbarian and a necromancer.
Yeah. Dude, the necromancer class is fucking dope.
So like I kill like 2 dudes, 2 skeletons pop out.
Well, no,
I kill 2 more dudes, and then corpse explosion and everything around us dies.
yeah, it's great. Corpse
Like
explosion
I barely
train.
have to whirlwind when this guy's
The
around.
corpse explosion train is real.
Yeah.
You can just fucking lay waste to rooms with it. It's fantastic. But that's like the 2 big games I've been playing outside my normal stuff.
There was a fight in Divinity the other day where we were fighting with a bunch of demons against a bunch of void creatures,
Mm-hmm.
and one of the demons used mass corpse explosion. And the place where we were fighting was already a battlefield littered with corpses from before when the demons got there,
Mm-hmm.
and so he just killed me. I was just dead.
Yeah.
The rest of the party was like, "Oh, it's fine," but me, I was just dead.
Are you playing a caster? Or
No,
are you a
I'm
squishy?
playing a squishy little rogue.
Yeah. Okay. All right, my turn.
Yeah, I suppose.
So I've been playing the regulars. Mostly PUBG.
That's
We got
the regulars is a fun source mod I've heard.
Yeah.
that's good. Yeah, we've been playing more PUBG. We've been getting chickens in the new rank
Yeah.
system.
Yeah.
That's been a good feel. Ing.
yeah, we
Try
figured
not
out
to say feel singularly.
a thing we need to do, and now we've just been getting chickens.
Yep.
What was the thing?
Oh, it's a secret
Some
thing.
social engineering has
Yeah.
happened.
Oh,
Squad composition.
Anyway, so
Steven's really good at the game. Then.
Yeah. Yeah,
he's
Steven
actually
got,
pretty good for how new he is.
Yeah, Steven
Like,
got PUBG.
Yeah.
Played with us a little bit.
Esteban, friend of the show.
Yeah.
And then I bought Destiny 2 a while ago and got shamed about it, right?
Yeah.
And I was listening to somewhere and someone was like, no, Destiny 2's kind of good now. And I was like, I want to believe you. Also, it's free and all my friends picked it up while it was free. I should investigate. Destiny 2 shooting is really good still. I got this really cool gun that when you kill people, they explode, and oh my god, it's fun. Beyond that, I think last night I was literally like playing it to waste time while I was waiting for them to get done with the PUBG game. And I think I'm at the end of the vanilla game. Like, it's doing like, yo, go kill that alien on that spaceship, Halo type shit. And I was like, stop it! I got other stuff to do because I don't actually care. So.
Oh, I came up with a new joke the other day.
Oh, yeah?
Anytime anyone says two Baroque adjectives next to each other, two Baroque, like, intangible concepts, like, you know, like, the truth and reconciliation, she's like, well, that's my favorite Halo level.
Yeah.
So somebody says, justice and, I don't know.
Liberty.
Justice and Liberty. Like,
Pride and Prejudice.
That's my favorite Halo level, dude.
That's my favorite Covenant battlecruiser.
Yeah. It works pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
Feel free to try it out, listeners. Mm-hmm. Anyway, I think we're done talking about...
Yeah, I don't really have more.
Fallout New Vegas.
Yeah.
What's wrong with Fallout New Vegas?
I don't know.
It's on that engine.
Everything that's wrong with Fallout New Vegas is Bethesda's fault.
I'm not sure if I agree entirely with that.
I'm making a really hyperbolic statement. I recognize that.
I think all of the nitpicks I have with Fallout New Vegas stem from it being built on the framework of Fallout 3.
Right.
Yeah.
But
so I have beef with Westside.
Yeah.
I have beef with Westside Vegas. When we started playing this, I had vague memories of the area of Westside being in Fallout 3.
Yeah.
And it felt very Fallout 3, like the whole thing. There's not much to do there.
Yeah.
Right, in Westside. There's the super mutant sheriff named Big Son of a Bitch or something. Mean Son of a Bitch?
I don't remember this.
See? This is my problem with
I don't
Westside.
even know.
This is my fucking problem with Westside Vegas. There's an area in the game called Westside. It's on the west side of Vegas, right?
It's where there's people living in the sewers there. And
yeah,
shit.
there's a bunch of people
I think I walked in there, killed
sewers.
3 people, and left
And,
once.
and if you go too deep in the sewer, you run into fiends.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's fiends living in the sewer, too.
Okay.
But they have, things that are going on there. There's, a grocery store that sells...
Isn't there a combat arena?
They farm... Yeah, and then they have the Thorn.
Yeah.
The Thorn is... And it's, closed during the day for reasons I'll never fucking understand. And then you go down there and you can fight,
it's freak fights.
Yeah, it's free fight, because you fight, mantises and shit.
Yeah.
Down in there. And if you bring that lady a bunch of, Deathclaw eggs, she'll sleep with you.
That is on brand.
I don't know where the design doc came from, or who made it, or why this, area that really honestly should be mainline somewhere between Prim and Novak?
Yeah.
You mean in that vast vacuum that is the beginning of the game?
Right, it should be somewhere over there.
Yeah, or
as far as what's going on,
it might just
there.
be something that's not finished.
Right, and it's where you run into more entrenched versions of the Vipers gang.
Yeah.
Right, and stuff like that, and it's I feel like this is stuff from Van Buren that never got finished or whatever. But I got beef with it. It doesn't feel the same way as other stuff does in New Vegas.
Yeah,
right?
I spent a little bit of time there because I was trying to court the NCR, and one of my NCR quests led me there, and so I piddled around in there a little bit, and then I kind of got out because I don't know.
Yeah, I think you bringing up Westside brings up sort of my biggest beef with the game from a design standpoint is there's so much empty space in a way that isn't necessarily bad, but it doesn't feel useful to the game. Getting to Vegas, quote unquote, the easy right way takes forever. I forgot. It takes so long.
Well, because it's supposed to be the critical path of the game.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
And I forgot how much of that game, the front end of that game feels like it takes so much more time than the back end.
Right.
I feel like I spend the first 2/3 of that game next to that fucking dinosaur statue. You know, like...
Well, because I understand why they did that, because, like, Fallout has to feel unforgiving and wastelandy, and, like, you have to feel like you're scrounging for bullets, and like, that's what the beginning of the game accomplishes that, but in subsequent playthroughs, it can feel like a
the
drag.
actual game loop isn't that in my brain.
Well,
right?
so like if you think about like the way the map in Fallout 2 is laid out, where like basically like the quote unquote easy stuff, the stuff you can just kind of stumble into is like the top 20% of the map,
right?
Like between like Vault City, Modoc, the Den.
The main
Klamath,
quest points you to these 5 places.
Maybe Reading.
Yeah.
And once you go south of that, that's where like there's some tough random encounters that'll keep you out until you're geared up. And then the bottom half of the map is all like kind of high level shit. You know, it's like Broken Hills, NCR, San Francisco, the Enclave,
and
Reno.
The map is split that way in this game.
Well, but my point is though that the central plot of this game has to take place in Las Vegas, and Las Vegas is at the center of this map, and it's all these surrounding areas. So you need to figure out, like, if you'll permit me a very tortured metaphor, it's like putting New Vegas at the bottom 10% of Fallout 2's map. And so rather than it being like a layer cake of difficulty,
right?
It's like
they have to horseshoe you around.
It's a worm's trail or like a snail trail to lead you there, and so it can make it kind of a slog.
Yeah.
I don't know. This time I feel like I barely noticed it, just because I mainlined getting to Las Vegas.
It's also, I think, a product of my character build.
Sure.
I played an explosive character.
Oh yeah.
Explosives are super scarce in the beginning of the game, and I told myself like I'm not going to use guns as much as I can, like because guns are everywhere in this game and they're a huge piece of this game, combat wise, and I wanted to see like how viable just chucking grenades and dynamite was, and that part of that game I was constantly like 6 sticks of dynamite, 5 dudes in that room. God, I hope this works. Like, because I literally had no other combat stats the way I built my character. Like, it was bad anytime I had to use my fists or a gun. Like, things did not go to plan here.
Yeah, I had a little bit of a rough time at the beginning of the game getting the weapons I wanted to.
Yeah.
Because I was playing an energy weapons character.
Yeah.
And so, like, I got some energy weapons pretty early on, but, like, it's hard to get ammo for them.
Yep.
Like, I got, like, a plasma defender in Novak. Like, the guy there had a Gunrunner's Arsenal plasma defender for sale. I was like, all right, cool. Like, you sure you want to give me this? Like,
are you sure I should have this right now? Like,
yeah. It felt really weird getting it then.
Felt the same way about the... I had a baseball bat, and then some vendor had a GRA baseball bat.
Oh, yeah.
And then also nails for that baseball bat, and I was like, sure I should be having this?
You sure you want to hand me this power spike? Like,
yeah, and then I just, like, Vulpes and Colta, I was like, sup?
Yeah.
And then these dudes came, and I was like, I got turbo.
So that's what facilitated my, like, rush to Vegas, is because, like, there's energy weapons vendors in Vegas.
You rushed to the Silver Rush?
To the Silver Rush and to the Gunrunners, because the Gunrunners sometimes have ammunition, and also you can just dump stuff on them.
Yep. Because they have so much money.
Yeah.
They always have, like, 6 to 12 grand.
It depends on what level you are.
Yeah.
They get more later.
Okay.
But the Silver Rush, like, won't let you bring weapons in, so you can't just, like, sell them your junk.
Right.
So you have to
I found
offload.
out they will if you do the first stage of the quest.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't want to fuck with those people.
Yeah, they suck.
Yeah,
Well, the first stage of the quest is literally just waiting in one spot and passing a single dialogue check.
Yeah.
It's really that.
Yeah, I don't want anyone to think I'm even associated with
Okay.
them. Like, fuck that.
The Vangraphs suck.
Yeah.
They're dicks.
But...
So yeah, playing my explosives character made me realize how much of that game doesn't want you to do that.
Yeah.
It was a very interesting narrow path I made for myself.
Well, it's like they want you to use explosives, but they don't want it to be the start and finish of your weapons.
Right, no, explosives are, hey, I'm going to throw this grenade.
Yeah.
Not, I'm covered in grenades, the way my character was.
Well, there's even, like, perks where it's, like, you get bonuses for using cowboy weapons, which includes dynamite. It's, like, dynamite, revolvers, and repeaters.
Right. Most of the explosive stuff, as far as, like, a track, or whatever you want to call it from a gameplay standpoint, is sprinkled into all the other things, right? If you're good at energy weapons, plasma grenades are better. If you're good at guns, then this fucking machine gun grenade launcher is rad. Like,
hey guys, you know what's great?
Huh.
There's a single weapon, or there is a weapon that Grunt and both Cowboy work on.
Oh yeah,
It's a combat knife.
nice.
And there's a special combat knife
Yep.
that's really close to the beginning of the game.
Nice.
That's nice. And you were playing melee.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So I went and got that. Chance's knife. It's really fucking fast.
Yeah.
If you take slasher,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
really good.
Well, also combat knife's probably not too hard to repair.
No, it isn't.
There's a ton of
Because
them.
you can take
everywhere.
normal knives,
Yeah.
which are like generic loot. They're not even weapon loot.
Yeah. A lot of the way I played this game was me working around repairing my weapons, because I got my two primary weapons I carried all the time were like probably some of the hardest weapons to keep maintained in the game.
Mhm.
I
Outside
went,
of just like going to a guy who repairs things.
yeah, and paying all your money.
Yeah.
Like fuck that. I hate the way that stuff
That
is
system
bounced.
kind of sucks.
Like it's just you can't use it. You
Mhm.
can't use that repair system. It's so expensive.
Mhm.
I went and got the named Gauss rifle. That is
This seems like too much.
obscenely powerful.
Yeah, like
It is obscenely powerful.
It's ludicrous.
Yeah, and it's got like a scope, so you can just blow away dudes before they've even noticed you.
does
However,
it have the new or the old Gauss rifle model?
it has the Fallout 3 Operation Anchorage Gauss rifle.
The one I like less. Got it.
I like that Gauss rifle. I love that Gauss rifle model. I'm not gonna lie.
I like the anal beads Gauss rifle. Like
That's one of those models. I remember I was talking about this the other day when Owen posted a picture of Doc Mitchell with Hakunen's
Oh yeah.
bone helmet, and I was like, "Oh, I I love the ambiguity of some of the 3D models in the old Fallout games, where you look at them and you're like, what's that supposed to be?"
I don't
Yeah.
know. It's too detailed.
But that's just the thing,
That's
and
just
it's kind of it's like a weird emblem that doesn't really represent the thing, because out in the world view, the Gauss rifle is just like an M16 or like a hunting rifle or like whatever.
Yeah.
I don't remember what the model is, but it's like yeah. Anyway,
But so this thing can only be repaired with other Gauss rifles.
which there's
Which-
so many of those.
I believe there is one in the game.
Yeah.
Which leads to me picking up lots of duct tape and wonder glue to make repair kits, which is like its own form of nightmare.
Yeah.
Um,
Or you have to put fucking 80 points into repair
90.
to get the. Yeah, I finally got
to
it.
get, to get jury rigging.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, that was a very early
Yeah.
identified like
Yeah.
I need that one. That's a perk that also just has a level gate on it.
Yeah. I
Um,
think it's like 14.
like all the
16.
perks do, but yeah.
yeah. Well, but like it has like a hefty one.
Yeah.
Like it was like long before I could get it, I met the
You
requirements
needed it,
for it
yeah.
and knew I needed it. And then the other thing I ended up using a lot was the plasma caster, which is the plasma rifle that looks like the Fallout 1 and 2 one
Mhm.
that's like way
The like
beefier.
underslung
Yeah.
fucking giant fork thing.
Yeah, and like you can get an upgrade for that like increases its attack speed a lot.
Nice.
And there's a named plasma caster, and I didn't use that because the way the math actually shakes out is if you have the Gunrunner's Arsenal plasma caster and put the speed upgrade on it, its DPS is like 0.1 within the named one,
Mhm.
but the named one is much less accurate but fires faster, so it blows through more ammo.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
Which-
like, yeah,
no.
like fuck that.
No.
No.
I actually did end up picking it up right at the end of the game to give to Veronica for the Battle of Hoover Dam. So we're both rolling up in Enclave armor with plasma casters, just like
Veronica and I
blasting dudes.
really liked our power fists.
yeah.
We punched so many people's everything.
Dude,
off.
Veronica rules.
So I loaded my game last night to finish it up,
hmm
and I forgot that I saved myself in like the coolest fucking spot. So I had crashed Fortification Hill,
okay.
and I think I like accidentally dialogued my way into combat at the front gate, and I'm like, whatever. I'm covered in grenades. These guys are done. And I'm at that point where I have like adamantium skeleton, light step. Like the explosives don't really touch me anymore. So I'm just like with impunity cranking off rounds out of my grenade launcher
That's
at
cool.
my feet, not even caring. And these guys are all exploding. So I walk into the room where Kaiser is,
Mhm.
and like 10 dudes rush me with punch guns.
Yeah, with the
Ballistic fists?
Ballistic fists. Yeah.
And then, they have the displacer gloves.
Yeah.
Well, no, he has the displacer glove.
Yeah.
They all have the other one.
So I just take my grenade launcher and like thump 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 4 in the room. They all explode. I walk in the room and Benny's tied up, and I'm like, yeah, okay. And I talk to him and I tell him I'm gonna kill him. And then I go up behind him and I'm like, okay, wait, what's in his pockets before I kill him? So like I pickpocket him, and then I'm behind him when I go into VATS and punch his head off. and his head rolls right in front of Kaiser's throne, and I sit on the throne, look down at it, and save my game, so that when I come in, I'm like, holy shit, what did I do?
That's pretty great.
It was really cool. Like, it was a great moment I set up for myself. And then, yeah, so there was a lot of, like, my entire combat doctrine was, like, explosives, and then early on in the game, because I just couldn't have enough doctor's bags to manage that up close, it was like, alright, I found this power fist, you're getting it.
So, I, early on, picked up the perk Light Step. Or not
So
Light
good.
Step, Light Touch.
Oh, yeah.
The repair perk that gives you bonus critical chance. Because I'm using an incredibly fast swinging weapon. I'm using
So you just
Chance's
get to
knife.
crit all
I
the
just
time.
crit all the fucking time. And then Boone's back there cranking off rounds. Boone's wearing some like reinforced combat armor,
Sure.
or Mark II combat
Yeah,
armor,
yeah.
whatever it is. Boone's also got an NCR hat for the bonus crit, and then I also have one. And
Yeah,
then
he gave you his buddy
and then
hat.
I'm wearing sunglasses, and then
I
I'm
forgot to take that trait.
and then I'm wearing a rebreather, and then
Yeah.
I'm wearing Vault 34 armor, which is the highest DT light armor in the game. And then I got Chance's knife, and I just took a bunch of drugs. And I'm just,
Yeah, drugs don't help you when you're an explosives guy, by the way. There's, like, no good way to buff yourself with explosives.
Psycho.
Yeah, I did a lot of that, but...
I when is it Nipton, the town that the Legion purges?
Mhm.
When I got to Nipton, I just killed Volpus and Kolta there.
Me too.
And wore his hat for like almost the entire game, like his personal.
Yeah.
Like I know it's just one of those hats.
No, but, like, it's his. It says it's his. And...
It doesn't. It
No?
doesn't. It just says it's like it
It's
is.
Oh, it's a Vexillarius helmet.
Yeah,
or
it's a
whatever.
Vexillarius helmet. But I always knew this is the one I looted up him.
Yeah.
I am him now.
Yeah.
So, I do a thing with Volpes and Kolta sometimes, and I didn't do it with my melee guy, but I did it with the guy I made after that, where I follow them through the desert back to Searchlight, and they will inevitably run into multiple patrols of NCR guys and get whittled down as they get back, and all of them will die. But
And you soak experience off of that fight, right?
Yep. So that's what I did.
That's
No,
ridiculous.
that's hilarious. And then when the guy comes up to you on the strip and he's like, "Hey, you should go see Caesar," I'm like, "Bye. Have a beautiful time in hell." So killing House with a melee weapon's fun.
I mean, you don't need to do much to him.
No, I know, but he flies around. It's great.
Yeah.
And then you guys both did Veronica. And I was going to do Veronica, but then I blew...
I actually used two companions. I
Me
switched
too.
partway
Okay.
through the game.
I had Veronica and Edie the whole time.
Oh, okay.
Because
Oh.
I was an explosives, science... What was the last one?
Survival?
Yeah, survival guy. Because I was like, I want to see what kind of crafting shit I can do in this game. And I really like all the options.
Yeah,
when
the
you get down to it.
crafting options are cool.
There's a really busted ass energy weapons grenade that you can make. That is like, so you can make microfusion cell grenades
Yeah.
where you just tape a bunch of them together and it blows up. But then you can make one that is a cluster grenade of those, and holy shit, it does so much
You
damage.
can also get like plasma grenades for like 40mm plasma
Yeah,
grenades
yep.
for the grenade launcher.
There's
Which I thought was pretty wild.
there's 40mm incendiary, frag, pulse, and plasma.
Yeah.
And the pulse grenades made all robots really easy.
What companion did you use, Matt?
I used Boone, but I wanted to... Veronica, I did her quests. I got her address. Like, I did both of her quests.
Mm-hmm.
And I turned... Like, we did the whole Brotherhood thing where she walks in. The Brotherhood's like, we're intransigent dickheads. And I was like, cool. And then later, Yes Man was like, Brotherhood's a huge threat. And I was like, yeah, I'll go blow them up. And now Veronica won't talk to me. So, yeah,
No.
that's what happened. Because I blew up the entire Brotherhood.
Okay. Like,
Yeah.
I convinced the Brotherhood to, like, fucking chill. And then I somehow got the wrong ending at the end of the game, so I don't know what the fuck happened.
I think Boone being such a valuable companion in that game is like a really good pointer towards hey, guns matter in this game a lot.
Well, there was a point where we Boone and I, when we first got together, the very first thing we did was kill all the fiends west of Vegas
Nice.
who weren't in sewers.
Yeah.
And there was a point when we were inside Vault 3 where Boone went boom, 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 and all three of those were headshots. and I didn't even have a chance to get up and melee any of the people in the room, and I was kind of thinking about switching Boone out for another companion, like Raoul or something I hadn't experienced before, and then I was like, I turned around and I was like, Boone's wearing a fucking, like, white t-shirt and jeans.
Oh yeah, his like original outfit.
And he's got the stupid Gamebryo stance on, and he's just snarling at me, and I'm like, you can stay.
Yeah. That's kind of like, that's the thing, is like, he's so mechanically good.
Yeah.
That it's like, you end up going, no, I can get used to that.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. And I never even used his spotter perk at all, because
you weren't doing that.
I never ADS'd.
Yeah.
Well, I want to talk about the single hardest fight in the game for me, Melee, was the last boss, which I thought was cool.
He's
because
tough.
Your last boss experience was...
Oh, yeah. You can see him, like, on a hill, like, overlooking you.
Mm-hmm.
And so I looked at him with the Gauss rifle through the scope, and the scope on that thing, like, swings a lot. And so if you crouch, it'll kind of tighten up. But that also makes you, like, stealthed. If he can't see you.
So the multiplier.
So I got a sneak attack headshot with the, like, YCS 1000, whatever the name is.
Oh, yeah.
The name, the Gauss rifle's name is just a letter
It's
number.
like the model number or whatever.
Yeah, and I can never remember what it is. But anyway, I got a, like, sneak attack headshot on Leggett Lanius.
With like the largest single shot weapon in the game. Like,
yeah, and so he exploded and flew into the air. And I put his helmet on and then went and talked to General Oliver wearing it.
I tried to pregame him and couldn't.
Oh, yeah.
I shot missiles at him and they went through him.
Oh, that's all right.
I was upset.
But that was actually going to be one of my like nitpicks with New Vegas is like one-on-one fights don't, at least in my experience, don't seem to work.
Right.
Like the way combat is designed to be challenging is like with a large number of combatants, or like with environmental things.
Right. Like the thing that's going to kill you in that game is 3 dudes with good melee weapons, 3 dudes with good ranged weapons, and they all mob you.
Yeah.
Right? Like
I did the Lonesome Road DLC, and the culmination of that is you fighting waves of dudes coming at you. And I did the Honest Hearts DLC, and it's you and Joshua Graham, at least the ending I picked, marching across Zion National Park, just
murdering
like
everything.
getting assailed on all directions by dudes.
By tribals, yeah.
Yeah.
And he fucking crushes people.
Oh, yeah.
Holy shit. He has a fucking 45 handgun, and he ices out dudes from rifle ranges all the time in this way that's like, what are you doing?
Well, that has like a weird thing, too, because like, that DLC needs to be enticing to players coming back to the game. So all the gear in it needs to potentially like be a somewhat upgrade to
right,
what
like
you can
there's trail
find.
carbines and stuff that weren't in the vanilla game.
Yeah, and like some of these weapons are doing like damage that's competitive with like anti-material rifles
Right.
even in the base game.
And then have a way better rate of fire. And,
Yeah.
like,
And so like you can get like a named Colt 1911 that is like fucking incredible in Honest Hearts.
Mhm.
Joshua Graham's armor is light and gives a crit bonus.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, exactly. Like
I liked that DLC more than I thought I would.
Yeah,
All the DLCs are good.
I just didn't expect to like it walking into it. Getting what it was.
I was really, I was not disappointed, but I didn't like them as much as I thought I would. I'm kind of lukewarm on them. I think they have good writing and good voice acting, and I think like actually what you're doing in those DLCs is really, like
the gameplay is not fun.
yeah. It's not especially like engaging or different.
Mhm. There was a point where Honest Hearts became a checklist.
Yeah, well, especially Lonesome Road is completely linear. Like it has a map that you can like fast travel around, but you are getting from the start of Lonesome Road to the end of Lonesome Road, and like I get it, you're walking a road, like that's the premise for it, but it's also just like Ulysses talking to you on the radio, and I think Ulysses is an interesting character, and the story between you and Ulysses is interesting, but it's all just a radio play against the backdrop of like me shooting Deathclaws, and
There's this filler combat to get there.
yeah,
right?
and like these weirdo zombie guys and the underground monsters. I kind of like them from a story perspective. I think they're kind of cool, but
I never really like thought about it that way. I was so engaged by Dead Money the first time I played it.
oh yeah,
It's like
Dead Money's kind of the same way too.
and now that I'm thinking about it, like the individual moment to moment gameplay in Dead Money isn't what I would describe as fun. It's not boring.
It's nothing at all different from the rest of New Vegas, but like Dead Money is like Yeah, the Sierra Madre, due to story reasons, is filled with mindless bad guys.
Right.
And so it's just like rooms of them. And like there's characters and there's like stuff going on, but like
the radio, like I will say, I think in Dead Money, the fact that you have to destroy a limb on them to like kill them for real, is kind of interesting. Although most of the time, by the time you've gotten there, your character does that anyway.
Yeah.
And then also the radios that blow up your head.
Yeah.
If you're in range of them, those are fun. I think those are different. But I was like, I honestly think like my favorite part of New Vegas was, until you said what you said, Dead Money. But I have a conflicting relationship with it, which is I don't want to play Dead Money, and I'm sort of starting to realize
you don't want to do that again.
Why I don't want to go through Dead Money again.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like my experience playing through Dead Money is one of my most treasured experiences from that game.
And Honest Hearts is the only one I managed to finish in our time limit, but I'm going to go back to the others. But I feel the same way, right? I'm glad I did it. I'm glad I experienced that story arc and played it the way I did, but I don't feel the need to go back.
I think of all of them, though, Honest Hearts is probably the most dynamic environment. Like, it's the one that has like separate communities that are each doing their own thing. It has like,
and there's choices between them, and
there's choices between them. There's side quests. You can learn about what's happened in Zion since the war. It also looks dramatically different from.
That was what
hit
me
of the
really
game.
hard on that.
Lonesome Road's that way too. Lonesome Road has a lot of really dramatic landscapes.
Okay.
I highly recommend.
I'm gonna check them all out.
Big Mountain does that too.
Yeah, it also involves you just like going into facilities and buildings and stuff. Like that's kind of why I bounced off of Old World Blues. Is like they had me like going through like a middle school and I was like, this looks like every fucking building in New Vegas.
Yeah. I was just thinking about the outside.
Yeah, the outside's cool.
Yeah.
I don't know, that's all I could say on the DLC.
What factions did you cozy up to?
Me.
Yeah, I didn't mean to do an independent ending. I did one by accident. I didn't realize that by bringing the Robot Legion under my hand, that
meant independence.
Yeah, like I went into the Battle of Hoover Dam with the Robot Legion at my disposal, like with the mentality it was like, yeah, we're just gonna kick ass in here and kick out the Legion, and I'm gonna hand it over to the NCR when I talk to General Oliver at the end of the game.
And that's just not an option.
Yeah,
in that conversation.
That's an option that's not on the table.
Because by the time you've done those things, like that was sort of frustrating to me because I left the NCR completely alone, and then they're immediately your enemy because you seize control of the robots.
Yeah.
Because it's this, like, dumb knee-jerk thing from them. We're like, oh, you got all these destructive robots, you're an enemy now.
Well,
like,
there's a thing you have to do, too, at
you have to kill a few of them.
Yeah, you have to kill a couple. I was so high-repped with them that me killing those NCR heavy troopers bumped me down to the reputation level of... Everyone thinks that you're just sort of a misunderstood scoundrel.
Are you talking about where you have to install the thing at the dam?
Yeah.
You can pass a speech check and tell them to leave.
I had 100 speech and it wouldn't come up.
Okay, well, so
because
it's a 50 speech check if I recall, where you're just like, hey, this lady needs your help. So like maybe the quests didn't align in a way to let that happen. But...
I didn't mind killing them though because I was wearing the Enclave Remnant armor. And if you have Jury Rigger, you can repair the Enclave Remnant armor with their armor, which is like kind of uncommon to even find things that are Jury Rigger compatible with the Enclave armor, because it has to be heavy armors, and theirs counts as a heavy armor.
Very few heavy armors in the game.
Yeah.
There's metal.
Yeah.
There's power armor.
So it would usually be metal armor. I would buy metal armor just because power armor is very expensive.
Yeah.
And also rare.
Ooh, shit. I ended up cozying up with the boomers out of necessity for my character.
Oh, well, yeah. So I got the boomers on my side because, like, I like them as a faction.
I think they're cool. Yeah. It's like weird militarist vault. Okay, cool.
Like they're. It's a faction that is literally named the Boomers. They're people using World War II era weaponry,
and half of them are like baby boomer age.
No, but also they're just like these reactionaries that kill anyone that comes near them. Like it's a very like on the nose thing to name their faction that.
And it's a very like it's a very pure thing of what vault dwellers would do coming out. Like they are scared as shit of the outside world and they just kill anything that comes near them because of it. Like
the villages in Florida.
Yeah. Yeah. and then you arm them with a bomber because that's a great idea.
Yeah, well, it's cool. The bomber shows up.
Yeah, I was like, I forgot about that when I stormed the dam.
I got the Enclave remnants too. So like the bomber comes and does the bombing run on the dam, and then the remnants roll up in a vertibird, and the vertibird lands, and dudes in power armor pop out.
And you got the robots behind you.
Yeah, and I've got my robots behind me. Veronica's wearing power armor. She's got the Smitty special.
Yep.
The turbo plasma rifle, the named one, and so like. It's just me and my buddies in power armor just blasting dudes.
So, I do the Boomers quest simply so that General Oliver will say the phrase "thumb of God."
Yeah.
But that's the only reason I do all the Boomer quests. Because
they're not hard at all.
There's something a little bit off to me about the Boomers. Like, it doesn't bother me that they're in the game, but it's somewhat... It taxes my immersion a little bit that they are.
Oh,
There's
yeah?
something a little bit video gamey about them. I was like, this is the explosive faction because we have an explosive skill. I don't know. I think if they weren't called the Boomers, I might like them a little bit more.
Yeah, they're definitely wedged in, and they're definitely removed from the game.
Yeah, they feel a little bit removed.
They're
from
like
everything
in that
else.
pocket where nothing else happens, and they tell you to go to that lake where nothing else happens.
That's not true. There's quests that go there.
Okay, cool. I didn't know that, but like.
Well, it just, like, to compare all my interactions with the Boomers, the whole time I'm like, I think it's also because the Boomers make you fight ants.
Yeah.
Like, that's some of their
And
quests, is they want you to go do ant stuff.
By being isolationists, they don't interact with the rest of the game.
Yeah.
Right? And so they feel weird.
Oh,
that way
yeah.
too.
They have, like, almost no feelings about anyone
Right.
else.
They're like, who? What?
Yeah.
Like, anytime you have any options.
Weird. Kind of weird.
You just walk into their vacuum.
Whereas when I talk to Chief Hanlon, that is a half an hour of me listening to a voice actor talk to me about things in this game world, and it's the most magical experience I've ever had. Hyperbole, but still, it's great. Chief Hanlon is great, and I love stopping him from shooting himself in the head every time.
Who's Chief Hanlon?
He's
the NCR guy.
No, right? He's the Desert Ranger guy. He was a Desert Ranger, and he became the chief of all NCR Rangers. And he's at Camp Golf, and he's old, and there's a quest where he's like sabotaging the war effort for reasons, and you can convince him not to kill himself.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The thing this game fucking executes on is anytime a character goes into expository land, like sit down and enjoy it because it's actually thought out and like not only does it intermix really well with Fallout 1 and 2 stuff. Like, I hung out with the followers a lot.
Well, because it's all Van Buren stuff.
Exactly, yeah. but I hung out with, like, I had this, like, nostalgia warmth when those things hit, because the followers are like, yeah, we're from Aditum, and I'm like, oh shit, I remember that. You're doing things to me now. Like all these conversations talk about things. Look, I've lived elsewhere.
If I see a person with a green mohawk wearing doctor's scrubs, I'm like, okay, I know what's happening.
Yeah.
Well, it's like if you talk to the Van Graffs, they'll talk about like they trade all over California, and they'll make an offhand mention of going to the Boneyard in Los Angeles.
Right. Like
so on
it
top
brings it into the world.
On top of that, the named plasma caster I was talking about is called the Smitty Special. In Fallout 1, the only way you can get a turbo plasma rifle is if you go into the Boneyard and go to Aditum and talk to Smitty, he can upgrade your plasma rifle. So that's why the plasma caster is called the Smitty Special. Awesome. Is it's referring to him and his little special sauce he puts on his plasma rifles.
Have you guys done the Vault 22 quest with the plants?
Yes.
I was really happy when I got to the end as a science character that when Ghoul Lady is like, yo, we need to burn all this data, you get a dialogue option that's like, actually, science is totally about its mistakes too. Give me that and I will talk to them. Like, you have this dialogue option that's basically like, no, we need to learn from this mistake rather than burning it down and allowing someone to possibly stumble into it again.
Real talk, though, the NCR scientist who gives you that
he's
quest,
a dick.
He's a dumbass.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. But I really enjoyed that like statement was
I fucking hate
situation.
that vault. I hate that going
it's
into
dumb.
that vault every
Vault
day.
22 is a nightmare.
Yeah,
and
it's bad.
It's just like getting around in it.
And I'm torn because I think that's good design. Because you go in there and you're like, I hate this. I hate being in here. I want to be out of here. And that's kind of like what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be like this claustrophobic
it is a horror vault, right?
That's
like
horrible and has like jumping monsters that come out. But at the same time, it's like you should probably want to play the video game.
Well, it's part of my problem with that vault is like illustrative of some of the things that carry over from Fallout 3. The way you get to where a quest wants you to go in Fallout 3 is by opening your map and seeing where on the map the marker is, right? That map system like will fail you completely trying to navigate Vault 22.
Absolutely.
And you don't have anything else to really fall back on.
Right. I went to a walkthrough multiple times finishing that quest.
It's a vault with like a lot of like caved in walls that you can walk through,
Double
and
backs
collapsed doors, and you have to go into this tunnel that leads outside the vault underground and loops into a different floor.
Right. And then the other like gamey piece of that vault that sucks is that I know there's a monster that spawns in that bush down the hallway.
Mm-hmm.
But I have to get right here where the trigger is, halfway down the hallway. What I want to do as my character is just go thump thump and be done with the dude in that bush. But he doesn't even fucking crawl out of the ground to exist until I hit that trigger point. Which is like a really Fallout 3 Game Brio-ass thing of them to do of that instead of having him just sneaking there. Like,
hey, can we talk about my favorite NPC in the entire game?
Yes.
Is the trader inside Caesar's camp.
I don't know that I've ever interacted with him.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever interacted with Caesar's camp in any way other than just killing everyone.
Sure. So there's a guy in Caesar's camp who is a trader from back east.
Okay.
And he's like a Mormon trader who trades between the different Mormon settlements. And he's like,
You mean trader DER? Not
yes.
TOR.
Yeah, like he trades
Okay,
goods.
making sure.
Yeah, and you can talk to him about like what being in Caesar's Legion territory is like.
Oh, that's
And
cool.
Oh, like
and,
in context
from a trader perspective, he's like, yeah, it's great. There are 0 raiders in like Caesar territory, which is like
It makes his life easy, right?
I've had many conversations with people about how like there are reasons to side with Caesar's Legion. Like Caesar's Legion is objectively evil and should be stopped.
Yeah.
But there are actual arguments to be made for like why maybe it's an option, like not a better option than the NCR, because the NCR is probably a better option. But like,
I think Caesar's Legion is a perfect example of a society that works but has the whole at what cost problem, right? Yeah. Because yes, the places that have been subjugated and are, giving their half to the Mongol horde or whatever you want to call it, they've gone through the horror that you are dealing with on the edge of where you're at.
Right.
And they've accepted it, and their lifestyle is okay for the most part.
Right.
But you have to pay that upfront cost.
So where I always fell off with considering Caesar's Legion as like a faction I think should control the wasteland is it seems really clear to me that Caesar's Legion will not survive Caesar.
Oh, for sure.
That like without Caesar, it will not hold together.
There's no succession plan.
No, in my I like wrote a fanfic.
Yeah.
I wrote a fanfic about post NCA. Well, it wasn't really fanfic. It was like I wanted to run a Fallout game in Nevada post New Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to run a Fallout like RPG. And one of the things I wrote was that the various sort of generals of Caesar's Legion just fall apart into Roman-themed raider gangs the moment Caesar's dead, right? Like that's what's up. That's what's happening, right? Like those tribes they have this new identity, but they don't have the iron will anymore. So
they do the Mongol splinter.
Yeah, real bad.
And the whole like undertone of the narrative of New Vegas is that Vegas needs stability, right? Like that this is that your choices should bring it stability somehow.
Well, and that it's starting to have it for the first time in its life, because Mr. House is the one who created the the Las Vegas Treaty and made the tribes dress nice and take showers,
right,
and like make the city like work.
Yeah, which like say what you will about that, but
I mean, like, New Vegas as a large metropolitan area in a Fallout game is kind of handling itself all right.
I like that New Vegas feels like this continuation from 1 and 2 of 1 and 2 is like, yo, go deal with the weird shit that grew in the desert, right? Like, go deal with the fucked up shit that came out of this while we're trying to get our shit back together.
Well, it's one of my favorite things about New Vegas is, and one of like one of the things that bothers me the most about it being based in Fallout 3 is that in Fallout 3, it's this sort of aping continuation of, yeah, we got the super mutants, we got the Brotherhood, we got the ghouls, and it's Fallout, right? And everything's sturdy, it's great, right?
We place the material here, and that's enough.
Whereas New Vegas understands that this is a world that is moving on from that sort of post-apocalyptic walk the wasteland. Like, there are a lot of people in this game who disdain the idea of walking the wasteland.
Yeah.
Who go, I don't want to do that.
Right.
Right? And they exist in these societal systems, right? They exist in a system where, like, I don't have to worry about what I'm going to eat today.
Right.
Right.
1 and 2 is about dealing with the cancers of the wasteland.
Right.
Right.
And so it's this world that's moving on from those things.
Right. And you're choosing how.
And that's one of my favorite things about the Brotherhood arc is that you're sort of understanding that this answer to the question of how do we do it doesn't work anymore, and you need to move on from this idea.
How do you grow past
How do you grow past that? And so my big thing is, like, everything still has fucking garbage all over it in New Vegas because it's based in Fallout 3, and it really shouldn't. Yeah. There are a lot of spaces in New Vegas that should be cleaned regularly. Like, if we're actually like a lot of military installations where they have janitors. You know?
Yeah, McCarran's this huge nightmare of a place
with weird garbage textures on the floor because they're from Fallout 3, you know. So
yeah. Well, and that's the thing that I like about the growth of the narrative in New Vegas is that, like we were talking about, right? Like, it's not about dealing with those, like, quote unquote ultimate evils that Fallout 1.
But War never changes.
Right.
War never changes.
But then it's about, like, how do you as the player take the agency to rebuild the world is what New Vegas is. And I think that's a really cool growth out of what the first two are, right? Like, the first two are like, that guy's doing stuff I don't like. Yeah. and you go deal with that.
Well, it's like the entire world version of how the Taliban deals with drug dealers, right? It's like, that guy, I don't like that. Hey guys, get your guns. We're going to go make him not do that no more. Yeah. So, yeah, man.
New Vegas is one of the few games I can keep coming back to from that era that is still playable to my sensibilities.
I have a question. Did you put your radio on this time around?
Like, only a tiny bit.
A little bit.
None. I was... Because you were talking about this.
Yeah. So this is something I talked about before. Like, a previous time when I played through the game, I played without my radio turned on. Because, like, by chance, I discovered that if you turn your radio off in certain areas, it'll play some of the music from Fallout 1 and 2. Which is, like, fun. But then when I discovered that, I started playing for a while with my radio off and realized, like, it changes the whole tone of everything.
Yeah.
Because all the radio stations that you can listen to are jaunty and fun.
It's another Fallout 3 remnant, right?
Well, like, sure. And I think, honestly, the radio is a good part of Fallout games. I think it adds a lot. But to have it on 100% of the time is... It changes the tone of every town you go into and of every corpse you find out in the desert.
It's like the audio version of the green filter over the Matrix.
Yeah.
Right? It changes the whole tone of everything.
It stabilizes the tone in a way that mutes everything else.
Turns the volume down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really, really like tracking down quests on my radio. I think that's really cool.
That feature is neat of it. Also, I want to say, I think 3 Dog is the best part of Fallout 3.
Yeah.
So, like, that addition into Fallout is fine, but...
I also like it because, so there's no way you would get the feature that I want put into the game. So, like ideally... So with the radio turned off, like, when I walk into, like, a trader shop, they'll sometimes have a radio on, and I get this, like, diegetic radio experience of, like, it creates this sense of place.
In the world.
It creates this sense of place that, like, someone lives here and someone's... If I go to Mick and Ralph's to go buy some duct tape, you know, like Mick has the radio on.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's not just that in his shop there's a radio on and, like, oh, that's cute, because, like, in a lot of games you'll have a radio on and there's diegetic music coming out of it, but it'll be like a 3-minute loop because this is just the audio we need to make for the radio in this shop. You know, there's, like, dozens of hours of dialogue specifically for the radio of Mr. New Vegas giving you plot hooks and things like that. So the diegetic radios that I run into all across the wasteland have so much material for them that you would never be able to justify if they were just diegetic radios.
Right.
Like the only way you could get a game to justify...
You have to let players plug into it to justify doing it.
But it gives like a very cool radio experience that I really...
Well, and it does the same thing that the quest in Fallout 3 sort of forces of making that character real in that world.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They're not just a voice on the radio. Like it having other people.
Can you actually go find Mr. New Vegas?
No.
Okay.
Which I actually like. 3 Dog Quest is heavy-handed.
No, well, so I think so. My personal theory about Mr. New Vegas is that Mr. House has a robo brain somewhere.
Okay.
That
yeah. You
like
would.
Somewhere in the Lucky 38 there's a robo brain that is
Mr. New Vegas.
Wayne Newton.
Wayne Newton.
Yeah.
And Wayne Newton's in a robo brain and he's like I get stabbed in the back of the brain if I don't.
He's part of the calculations, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So remember when we did a Fallout game, one of my characters, or not Fallout, but when we did a post-apocalypse game, one of my character's major goals was to create a radio station.
Yeah.
So that people would we would have a larger reach of being able to tell people what we were doing and what we are up to do PR and bring in new recruits and stuff. But yeah. The radio is a powerful tool in the wasteland.
Yeah, but hey, play New Vegas with your radio turned off. It's kind of nice. It makes it gloomy and sad.
Yeah,
it
brings this world is broken feeling home,
mm-hmm.
not having a voice in your ear the whole time. But it's also like we were talking about, right? Like you're in this weird transitionary state in New Vegas way more than you are in other Fallout games of there are civilizations trying. And
it's two entire civilizations fighting over this money pit.
This region,
which is mostly just fighting over electricity, but also the money pit.
Yeah. They're mostly fighting over the dam and Helios, but adjacently.
Yeah.
Well, and those things, because they're part of the region, are tied to it. Yeah.
I really like this game, and it's one of those games where it's like Deus Ex, where I can come back years later and find new stuff.
Mm-hmm. It's part of why I went on a different track than I
new ways to do things.
I also forgot how much is level gated.
Yeah. There's a lot of level
I hit
gated.
A higher level than I normally would in my playthroughs in this run. And I'm like, wow, there's a lot of stuff up here. Looking around in the stores and stuff. It's like, I have never seen half of these guns. Partly because of GRA, and partly because I didn't do this high.
Gunrunner's Arsenal puts a ton of just
fun stuff. Yeah,
there's a lot of cool stuff in there.
Goofy weapons.
Yeah. I was using some gun with hollow points.
Mm-hmm.
I was using some sort of sniper rifle with hollow points, and if I did sneak attack criticals on Super Mutant Masters, the hollow point multiplier combined with the sneak attack critical was enough to kill them.
Nice.
But if I shot them with APs, it was doing 1/10 of their health.
Oh, weird.
So it was this weird thing with the math.
The way the multipliers stack.
Yeah. The way DT, the way... I have...
DT's a mess.
What
I kept stacking DT, and it didn't do anything.
No, because it's a pass-fail.
Uh-huh.
Right? Is it above or is it below?
Yeah.
You get 80% DR. If it's above, you don't.
There's a point where DT is yes, and it's good.
Josh Sawyer makes very new player friendly armor systems in his games that he's allowed to design armor systems for.
Mm-hmm.
But they're incredibly unfriendly to people like me who want to take 0 damage.
You want to systems bastard shit out of it, and it doesn't let you do that.
I want to systems bastard his armor system and take 0 damage from a rocket launcher to the face. I want to do it, and you can't.
You can't.
And it sucks.
And as the guy with the rocket launcher, I appreciate that.
And the other thing I did this time, which I didn't mention, I played with 0 mods. I usually play with 300.
Oh,
so, that was the thing.
I tried to do a visual overhaul mod, and I think half of it worked. Because
they can be tricky, especially with that engine.
So, if I disable all my mods and take a screenshot, and save and close the game and then enable my mods and load that save and take the screenshot, I can compare them side by side.
Mm-hmm.
And I can see my mods are definitely making the game look a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
But then if I look at the screenshots on the guide,
You compare what they're selling you there.
yeah, and like I installed all the mods they said in the order that they said, and like their screenshots look fucking phenomenal, and mine don't. So like I think there's something along the way I fucked up, but like the only
Who
thing
the fuck knows what it is?
yeah, the only thing I ran as far as mods were just graphical overhauls this time.
So there's a mod that I usually play with that makes DT function the way it did in Fallout 1 and 2.
Okay.
But that has the incredibly bad effect of making rad scorpions nearly unkillable with the equipment you have at the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
Like, you have to kill them with dynamite. It's literally the only thing that will hurt them.
And they'll fuck you up.
Oh, they'll fuck you up so bad?
I remember the first time you're like, you should play with this mod. I was like, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
Scorpions.
You run into a ram
Fucking
scorpion.
scorpions.
Run into a ram
Scorpions and
scorpion.
Cazadors are awful.
Well, I mean,
with that.
Cazadors are awful. So.
Yeah. Cazadors are just
like.
I mean, that's the point.
Normal real life Cazadors are awful. Let's
Much less the nuclear upresed.
Do we want to say anything about playing this game, like how it feels? It feels good to play. I mean,
yeah.
I wish the shooting was a little bit smoother. Fallout 4 has spoiled me a little bit.
Yeah.
But beyond that, I don't really have anything to say.
The limitations of when it was made aren't like I said, aren't bad enough for my modern sensibilities. And there's enough in it that I haven't done.
But part of it is like the way I play it is polished. Is maybe the word I want to use to a certain degree. Where there's things that this game does very badly in the way you interact with the world and move around it. And I've played this game enough times that I don't try to do those. I don't attempt anymore.
Oh,
and like don't fuck around with them. You know,
can you give me an example?
Like just trying to like platform around, trying to get on top of something.
Oh, that was one thing I wanted to say. There are a lot more invisible walls in this game than I remember.
Yeah,
like a lot.
Yeah,
like
plenty.
a lot. Like it was a lot of times where I'd be like, I'm gonna go over this bluff, and the game would be like, no, you're not. And I'm like, bitch, I have console commands.
Yeah.
I'm going over this bluff, and then you get halfway through the bluff, and you're like, nothing up here is modeled.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, like if you use TCL to go up where the invisible walls won't let you, you're not gonna like what you find.
No.
There's one where
the walls are trying to protect you.
There's one where it lets you into the Yucca Mountain nuclear storage facility, and there's like an exit to it that you're not supposed to be able to get to, and if you do, you're trapped in this little hole you can't jump out of, and it's incredibly radioactive.
That's
so like you fucking get what you deserve if you TCL into that.
That's great.
I don't remember where it
Which is like totally perfect for that setting.
Oh sure.
Yeah, that plays a fucking nightmare.
Yeah, like in the past, there's been some, like a handful of like little quality of life mods I used, but I didn't like use any of it this time.
I was surprised how much I didn't want to mod it once I got in it.
The only mod I still universally recommend to everybody is there's a mod. I didn't bother getting it this time, although I thought about it the whole time. There's a mod where anytime your karma changes, it hides the notifications from that.
Right.
So that the only way you'll be aware of your karma is if you go look at it. Which I like because it creates a sense of ambiguity about the morality system.
It allows you to live your character instead of
and like there's a type of player or a type of approach when playing these games of like I'm gonna play the good character. Oh no, I did a bad thing. I should load type thing or oh I got negative karma for that. Oh I won't do that again. You know like it like even just the notifications are like a little like Pavlovian.
It's a tiny little nun wrapping
signal.
you on the fingers with a ruler.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And so I always like the mod that just gets rid of that. Like if you truly are the type of person who's going to steal all that guy's purified water when he's not looking, that's the person you are, man.
Yeah.
So
and being allowed by the game to live with that.
Yeah.
So for me, there's a weird noise that plays when I steal stuff. I'm not really sure what's going on. It's weird. Yeah, that's just the noise that plays when I steal stuff. It's weird.
Morality hit.
And sometimes when you kill Caesar's Legion guys, it goes boing afterwards. It's kind of funny. Do we want to talk about Obsidian at all?
We love you.
We love you. I hope Microsoft doesn't ruin you.
Yeah, they got bought by Microsoft.
I hope they make a Pillars 3. That's my hope for the world. Hey, put that on your vision board, guys.
Yeah.
Does anyone have anything they'd like to say about Fallout New Vegas in the Fallout New Vegas episode?
It's still good. If you haven't played it, you should.
It was incredibly engrossing, and I did not...
I forgot how much it grabs you.
Yeah.
Even when I know what it's doing.
Yeah, it sucked me in.
I played like 100 hours of it or
Yeah.
Oh
something.
my god.
Well, probably not that much.
I think
but
I put like 20 to 30 in.
I put a lot in.
I don't know what my number was to start.
All right, well, put a nail in that coffin. I have an announcement.
Yeah?
I no longer wish to say the name Todd Howard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am going to say from now on the name Peter Molyneux.
Yeah, we're retaring the Todd Howard Award.
And replacing it.
You had nothing to do with this decision. This is all me.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding. The in-fiction is that it's all me, but what really happened, no one.
I don't know. I brought up. I felt really uncomfortable with the award because there's a certain type of toxicity on the internet directed at Todd Howard.
Currently.
Yeah, and
We don't want to be part of that.
Yeah, we don't want to be a part of that. Like we don't. We have gripes about some of his games, but like...
Well, I mean, we got beef with Todd Howard because he does things to IPs we like that we don't like.
But we don't
that's
agree with the death threats and things that are happening.
That's the long and the short of it.
No
It's
one,
like, hey,
no
Todd
one deserves
Howard,
to die for their business decisions in gaming.
Todd Howard, I mean, like, so for me, the ideal would be that Todd Howard starts doing his job the way I'd like him to do it, right? Not that he dies.
That he reacts to the situation accordingly instead of...
Right, because I'd love for Starfield to be a fun game to play. Anyway.
And I'd love for Starfield to stop having the same pitfalls all Bethesda games have.
But we pitched Peter Molyneux as a replacement, and that felt better.
Yeah.
Because Peter Molyneux.
Yeah, he I don't know, like I kind of love Peter Molyneux in his games, and I love the way he swings for the fences.
Yeah.
But also he did this to himself.
I absolutely love that about him, but also like Peter Molyneux deserves to be fucking razzed for this.
But it feels like a less cynical and mean way to express the style icon that we were using before. I really like
without
that term.
bringing in the awful things associated with Randy Pitchford.
Right.
Yeah.
Like
that's all we need to say about him today.
Like child porn.
That's all we need to say about him today.
Like going to medieval times.
Did he go to medieval times?
That's where he lost that thumb drive.
He lost the child porn financials drive at medieval times.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Also, what was the other one?
What?
He's getting sued for $12 million?
Or no, it was that he embezzled.
Oh, he embezzled $12 million.
No, it wasn't that he embezzled it. It was that the publisher gave it to Take-Two gave it to him instead of the company, and that qualifies as wage theft because it was an advance on royalties.
Also, the company lawyers are saying, that's absurd!
Yeah. So we'll see how this all shakes out. I just think it's really funny that medieval
I just like
times
that
is
I said
story.
fuck Randy Pitchford a few years ago and I was right. Like,
Well, I
I'm
mean,
wallowing in this...
No one ever said you were wrong.
I know, but I'm feeling good I was ahead of a curve here.
Okay, you weren't. You were just more adamant about it.
Fuck that dude.
Speaking of court cases, we're excited about seeing the documents from Alexis Jones's and InfoWars' financials are going to be available to the public.
Oh, they're available, for the discovery phase.
Because they were in the discovery against the with the lawsuit put forth that just won by the Sandy Hook victims' families.
Yeah, good for them.
Good for them. Anyway, how many Peter Molyneux does this game get?
Ooh, I don't know. Like, I don't think any.
One.
Maybe one. I don't know.
One, because there's definitely West Side, is a thing.
There's quite easily just there's things in the game that are a reality of the game having to be released. Like Caesar's Legion, for example, is vastly underdeveloped compared to the amount of quests you can do in the name of the NCR.
For sure.
And then, I think that's just a product of
And theoretically it should be 50-50, right?
Yeah, if they're meant to be a genuine choice.
Right.
I think this game gets a non-zero amount of rewards based on the fact that the game was not half-baked but underbaked.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Okay.
A big part of the reason we don't have a New Vegas 2 is because of the review score, and the review score was because of the bugs.
Yeah.
Mostly on console. So I think that needs to be reflected somewhere in the Not Real Game Awards, but I don't know exactly where that goes. And I think that Peter Molyneux is good place for that to live.
It's not living up to its promises.
And I think that a 1 or a 2 does that.
I'll go for a 1.
I can do 1.
All right. Brandon Show.
I don't know.
Are there any like fiddly bits in this? Like,
What do you mean?
like non gameplay necessarily relate. Like for me, the Brandon Chung style guide is the tea scene in Wolfenstein.
Okay.
How the tea moves and it's got its own
sure.
fucking tech, and then the whole scene is
That
just
hot tea tech.
the whole scene is fucking fluff, right? It's all just to build the setting, right?
The only example I can think of something like that is in Honest Hearts. When you first meet Joshua Graham, he's like in this cave
Oh yeah, and he's just like the guns
with
and
a lantern, and he has like this improbably large pile of Colt 1911s, and he's like checking
his entire dialogue. He's taking one, clearing it, fixing it up, putting it in the next
and
pile.
putting it in a
And the
stack.
piles never change size
Yeah,
in
yeah.
a video game
But
ass way.
but he has this great little animation
Yeah.
that he does while he's doing
Okay,
it.
so these things definitely exist.
I want to give that scene a Brendan Chung award, but I don't want to give the rest of the Fallout New Vegas
I
one.
think a 1 is fair then.
Okay.
I was gonna say a 2 because I feel like there's other spots where fiddly little things that like the entire dialogue with Chief Hanlon is completely skippable and almost non-quest related, except for the tiny little dialogue quest you do where you keep him from shooting himself. Right,
Cowboy robot who pulls you out of the ground sways like no other Securitron when he's talking to you.
There's little details.
There's little things.
So it's
Okay.
like a 1 or a 2. I'm
I
feeling.
think 1.
Okay, we're on a 1. All right, there we go. Nina Freeman.
It's not like that.
Well,
Any feelings derived from this game aren't like that. I don't think the game meant for me to have them.
no. So there are certain times when certain NPCs say certain things, like Boone's Quest, where he's
Mhm.
talking about Red Rock Canyon,
Mhm.
and you go there, and some of the things he says to you, and some of the things he says about like having to shoot his wife
Mhm.
and stuff like that, I get a little verklempt. I get a little emotional about those things.
Okay.
And so I want to put forth a 1, but I'm feeling that I'm going to be overwhelmed on this one. So
I
don't really have any comparable experience.
don't
Okay.
think it's intentional and in the critical path in the way I would describe the Nina Freeman stuff I've agreed on before.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. You can avoid the feelings. You can skip past the feelings in a way that I wasn't allowed to in other situations.
Quick question: does this game slap? Does this game sniff its own asshole? How many Simon Vicklins does it get?
Oh. I don't know, like 2 or 3.
I'm 3.
I'm 3.
Yeah,
The radio,
fucking,
the-
like the Fallout weapons alone.
Yeah.
Like it just there's
The
a-
radio, all the callbacks.
Mick and Ralph sold me a katana. Okay, I'm just like
Yeah.
putting that out there.
I think the courier system is a really good addition to the Wasteland as an idea,
Sure.
like as a function. I think
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
really
disparate
good.
settlements need shit.
Yeah, I think like there's a lot of stuff that's like on brand in this game that works.
I have a weird question.
Yeah?
How many J. Sawyers does this game get?
It gets 5.
It's
It gets
5.
5? That's
think it's 5, yeah.
super weird.
Ah,
Yeah,
weird,
how'd
right?
that happen?
Oh my god.
Yeah, what?
Let's not justify
Who
that
did
at
that?
all. Jeff Bezos.
Jeff Bezos? I don't know. 0.
Yeah. Well,
I think Mr. House is where Jeff goes.
no,
but-
because okay, so for me, it's the development of the game. It's the fact that Bethesda has this. They have the property,
Mm-hmm.
and they're like, we made Fallout 3 and it was so good, and we want to cash in on that more. So let's hire a third
So
party.
hey, you guys did this before, right?
Yeah, you guys did this before, and you have this
Yeah.
like half-finished game. Why don't you guys just? And so from there, there's sort of like a cynicism to it. But then from Obsidian's perspective, it's like, well, you get to finish the game.
And
you
it's
never...
very, very like for them, it's coming home, right?
Right.
You know,
Like
it's very.
from the Obsidian perspective, it's very not. But from the Bethesda perspective, this is very
Mhm.
much like a let's just have free
Well, and
money.
I think it's in
Right.
the execution too. I think there's the care that
Mhm.
needs to be there on the Obsidian side that makes me not give a shit about the business angle.
Sure.
that
Okay.
we're
So
talking
0.
about.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want. I wanted to have that discussion. That's all.
This game does not feel like a cash grab the way Bethesda treats it.
Right.
Right. The
Yeah.
product doesn't end up that way.
Hey, this is I could maybe Tarn Adams.
Torn Adams.
What do you think? I mean, there's like interacting stuff in this game. Not much.
I can't do everything to everything though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I constantly had a problem because I played Fallout 4.
That's going to be a touchstone for me. Can I do everything to everything?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I yeah, that one just kind of came out.
Yeah.
I can't.
Get out of your everything.
There's assets in this game
Q blasted it.
that are assets in Fallout 4 that are like updated.
Yeah.
That you can pick up that you can use for shit because of Fallout 4's like systems.
Mhm.
So like every time I played Fallout 4 like 6 months ago before we played this, and every time I saw a desk fan, I was like, "You'll grab that. It's got screws in it." In my head, right?
I did that for like 10 minutes.
And
in
like
this playthrough.
I found that like echoing too
Yeah.
long in this game because they didn't fucking change the way the fans looked.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like they haven't changed the way the fans looked in 10 years. In a way that's like
Well, I think that's intentional because they're from the same apocalypse. But
yeah,
yeah.
like I get that. Like but it did this weird thing in my
Bethesda
brain.
apes everything that Obsidian does. So
Yeah.
Anyway. Jake Solomon?
Mm.
I was only frustrated once, and I should tell this story on air before we move on. When I did the Leggett Lanius fight, I did it melee, and when you kill him, people come in behind you with assault rifles and try to kill you.
Yeah.
And Cannibal Johnson had come in with me. None of the other Enclave soldiers did. And the Caesar Legion down in the pit where Cannibal Johnson was hanging out very quickly overwhelmed him and stole his minigun and were
Oh.
using it against me. And I had to do more drugs than I'd ever done before to defeat them.
I think that's actually a beautiful character culmination. Because you're definitely a melee guy jamming drugs in your system to murder everyone. And that this is like the crescendo moment and you have to do more drugs
But it
than
was
you've ever done
After
before.
I beat the final boss, the minions who came in with assault rifles were more of a problem simply because they had more.
I appreciate
But it was like
this.
more like kind of indicative of what you were saying earlier.
Yeah.
I appreciate this in a Lisa narrative context.
Right. But it was like losing Cannibal Johnson. I was like, no!
Yeah.
It would've
No, I
been-
reloaded that fight a few
But that's why
times
Jake
'cause my
Solomon,
companions
like-
died.
It would have been really funny if you were too stoned to talk to General Oliver.
If I was like coming down off Psycho and I was like,
Well,
"Bruh, robots,
well, you remember what
ram
happened?
your pooper.
Remember what happened to me in Fallout 1 when I fought the Master? Is I took a bunch of Psycho right before going to talk to him.
Oh, so your int's like super low?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like I literally couldn't speak to him.
You're like,
What a great
Like
systems
fucking-
interaction.
Fucking
Yeah.
Mango from SNL.
yeah, like that interaction in Fallout 1, that's a Tarn Adams.
Yeah.
Or Mr. Peepers. Sorry.
Yeah, Mr. Peepers.
Yeah.
They feel the same. I understand the confusion.
Yeah, Chris Kattan is a real one-trick pony.
He's a real
So-
Corky Romano.
How
I'm sorry.
many Jake Solomons? You take the wind out of my sail, Keegan.
I don't know. I don't got anything for it.
Me neither.
Yeah.
Cardboard computers.
I give it like a
In the
1.
DLC, there's some stuff.
There's some weird in this
Yeah.
game for the sake of weird that I can give it a 1.
I think Dead Money and Honest Hearts has the most cardboard computers.
I think also
Yeah.
just there's some of the random encounters, or not random, but like the encounters
like the
you'll
one-offs.
the
Yeah.
one-offs you'll find out in the desert,
Yeah.
like evoke a feeling from like just the idea of like running into a dude sitting under a billboard playing a guitar or whatever.
With the revolver in his guitar.
The ghoul cult,
Oh, the Bright Followers?
the bright followers feel like the glowing skeleton guys in my brain. Like
Yeah,
they
okay.
kind of match.
If there's a Venn diagram,
Yeah,
the circles
like
are
there's
covering each other.
there's
just a
some
little bit.
overlap with the glowing
Yeah.
alcohol.
We don't know what
skeletons.
those. We don't know.
Oh
what
man, I got a cardboard computer story actually.
Can we give us a number before you?
I like
Okay.
1.
Yeah,
One?
one's fine.
One.
with me.
Okay, I was going to argue for 2, but anyways, your story.
So cardboard computer has a Patreon.
Okay.
Because they sold Kentucky Route Zero like 5 years ago
Oh,
for $20.
right.
And like
That
they've-
hurts my heart
they've been
every
in-
time you say it.
they've been in development for years and years, and it's been difficult for them to like stay afloat.
Yeah, weird.
financially.
Like buying food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they opened a Patreon. It's like, hey, if you want to support Cardboard Computer, you can. And there's like some perks of it. Like I can join their I support them because I like Cardboard Computer a lot.
Full disclosure.
Yeah,
Owen
yeah.
is a supporter of
Yeah.
Cardboard Computer.
But like apparently one of the perks, and I didn't pay too close attention to the perks because I just want to support them, is that they will mail me postcards. And like some of them like aren't even clear who they're from or what they are.
Oh yeah, you were telling me about this. Like you just got a letter, like a postcard.
There's
from
a
them in the
there's a
mail.
postcard on it that says like to Owen or resident. And I was like, okay, this is like probably some junk mail. And it's just a black postcard, and it's got this like enigmatic symbol on it. And I got it in the mail, and it's just like, what the fuck is this?
There was a Steam game I
like
bought
the weird
on
ARG nature of this.
on a sale, which is a game that is an ARG, and when you start playing the game, it's like, hey, can we mail you stuff?
Oh, sure.
Can we call you?
Yeah.
Can we do other
It
stuff?
asks for permission to allow you to do this.
Yeah, it
That's
asks
great.
like what level of depth of ARG do you want, and it's like a Illuminati game. I think it's called the Black Doctrine.
Okay.
And so they'll email you, they'll send you letters, and they'll phone call you, and I think they'll do more if you give them more money. But it's like it's the ARG game, and it like plays in seasons,
Okay. Okay. That's cool.
and it's supposed to be like you're fighting the Illuminati, or like you are the Illuminati. I don't remember, but
I really like random drips of cardboard computer in your life.
Yeah,
though.
yeah,
Like,
so-
I think that's neat.
So the other one I got is a tourism like postcard for the Echo
Nice
for the underground river.
Oh, nice. So anyway, getting a postcard with an enigmatic symbol on it
yeah.
reminds like
Oh, and it has the other one has a phone number on it, and if you call it, an automated message will tell you whether or not Kentucky Route Zero Act 5 is done.
nice. Probably cheap to set up. I like that.
That's
Yeah.
hilarious. So
It's also like low tech enough for
what
them.
did we did a number one? Does this game get a Moira Brown Memorial Award for lost content? I think it does. I mean, you
Yeah.
can miss a lot.
There's
of
a
shit.
ton of
Yeah.
stuff you can access.
You guys like when I said West Side, you were like, "What? Huh?" And even though both of you had been there, it's like
I've
it's
been there, but I've
indicative
never
of-
seen that label.
I mean,
on
there's
it.
tons of quests and content that you can miss. There's people you can destroy and ruin quest
What's
lines
that?
on the road.
What's that design goal from Jay Sawyer that you always like to talk about?
Oh, that every NPC in the game needs to be able to die the instant the player has line of sight with them and not ruin the game. Which like
God, that's so good.
it's good, but also makes like a lot of really silly situations where like at the end of Dead Money, Father Elijah, the only time you see him, he's behind bulletproof glass because you can't kill him for the whole storyline to work. There's a couple other situations like that. It's like how House always talks to you through the computer, at least until you get the chance to go see him.
I like it because it allows for that room for my character to accidentally blow someone up and just not have anything.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Like, and it also like it creates those weird like accidents and things like that just wall shit off, and I think that's neat.
And the game does a thing that I'm not sure how I feel about this. Where like, so I played a lot of the game with Arcade Ganon as a companion. I like him, and also he gives you access to the remnants.
Oh yeah, my
But-
conversation with him, I wasn't smart enough to like suss that out, and I'm like, "Where'd you learn that?" And he's like, "Stuff."
So he's really cagey about it in general.
Yeah,
And there's certain events where like if you see enough shit, basically you can find like coax it out of him. But he'll avoid talking about it if you ask him.
I appreciated
Yeah,
the
yeah,
back
yeah.
and forth that I had with him that way.
I like that about him. But like here's an example of a thing that can happen is if Arcade Ganon dies at any point in the game for any reason, if he's your follower and he just gets over his head in combat or something, it'll just give you a bunch of quest failed notifications for quests you haven't even encountered yet.
Ding 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 ding, done.
and so I on one hand I appreciate that I won't try and go finish these quests now, but at the same time the game has in its own way told me like the person you killed like actually matters, right?
Which like ideally those wouldn't even summon if you didn't know about them.
Now,
Like, for that.
so like I'm about 50-50 on it of like how I
the
feel about
type of player I am, I really appreciate that shit.
Like knowing that you
I
missed
really appreciate. I think that I wish it was a toggleable.
That's-
option.
Yeah.
I think that's the sweet spot on what we're talking about
it. Yeah,
here.
because I think I would turn it off for the most part.
So I'm the guy who I haven't watched the last episode of Futurama because I need there to be more Futurama in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Like I had this moment when I went back to Batman the Animated Series and I realized I'd seen every episode and I was like a little
Sure.
like, oh, there's not more. So I did that. Like I've purposefully done that with like the last season of Futurama in general, I think at this point. But like that's the video game equivalent of like knowing there's more magic in that game
Mm-hmm.
that I just haven't found is awesome.
Yeah.
Like,
Golden toilet skull.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so Is there anything you want to nominate specifically to receive a Golden Toilet Skull? Was there a part in the game?
I think all the unique weapons being like sprinkled in weird places counts. Like,
well, so the thing we were talking about is like the golden. When we talked about the when we did our end of year stuff,
Mhm.
the Golden Toilet Skull is supposed to be an eye rolling example of
okay.
environmental storytelling.
No, that's fair. I don't know that I have one.
The
then.
Indiana Jones hat in the refrigerator is the only example I can
Ooh,
think of.
okay.
I ran into a park ranger hat in Honest Hearts that did that. Like, of course there is. Like,
But other than that, I mean, I could go either way on it, honestly.
Like I'm a no, but I'm not too heavy on it. But because like I think they show a bit of restraint in New Vegas.
I mean, especially with Wild Wasteland being an optional thing.
Oh sure,
Yeah.
But in all of that is I feel like the stuff in Wild Wasteland is even different from what the Golden Toilet Skull is supposed to be.
Yeah.
Because that stuff that's like
It's intentional.
it's intentional. It's being silly.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with no.
I can go with that.
Well, good job. You beat your older brothers, New Vegas, because Fallout 1 and 2 did not pass that test.
Yeah. Fallout 1 and 2. There's
Okay.
definitely some Toilet Skull material.
So, So we normally have a segment right here where we're done talking about the game, and it's called the Video Game Issues / Wish a Game Was Different. I'm adding a new / today. And this is one of my favorite new YouTubers, Nakey Jakey. He has a series called Games That Should Bang. And so do you guys have... Oh, and you had one earlier, which is... You could say it. Again, it was Final Fantasy Tactics and Pokemon.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Just like a normal ass Pokemon game, except that like when you're in a battle, you actually have like a isometric view and can position your Pokemon like they're a squad.
And viewers, I know that there is a game that's kind of like this,
But it's not what I want.
but that game sucks.
Yeah.
So shut up.
The Pokemon Nobunaga's Revenge. Or whatever.
Send your complaints to shutup@gmail.com because that's not our email address and we won't have to read them.
I nominate previously mentioned Spider-Man Snap
Oh yeah.
in games.
Oh
I wish
yeah,
would bang.
Spider-Man Snap.
I still
Get me pictures of
Yeah.
Spider-Man Snap :
get me pictures of Spider-Man. Yeah, no, that game still like echoes in my brain every now and then, like when I'm driving or whatever. I'm like, that needs to be a thing. Like,
That'd be a good game.
I think that would be an excellent DLC to that Spider-Man game that exists.
Oh, I think they'd be selling it short to make it a DLC.
Yeah,
Because you're not playing as Spider-Man, remember?
You're right. Like, it needs to be like a tongue-in-cheek indie game, right?
Yeah.
Like, it needs to be just there enough.
like Sonic Dreams Collection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Why?
Where can they find us?
If you want to send us game codes and manifestos and corrections and feedback, you can contact us at badplaystyle@gmail.com.
Or, for a slightly, probably quicker interactive experience on Twitter, we're at badplaystyle.
Yeah.
Probably quicker. Depends on if we're working.
Yeah.
And we are not giving out a chicken hat.
Yeah, Zero Chicken
Where
Hearts.
are we at with chicken hats this season? Does
I
anyone
think I have
remember?
1.5.
Is that
I have 1 and a tiebreaker.
still happening?
Yeah.
We're at 1 point infinite. For
Yeah,
him, and
because
then-
we're
and then we're
coming up on the end. We're at
Yeah.
like 38 or
This
something.
is 8 or 9. I don't remember. And then, what are we playing next week? Matt, that's a good question. Matt, I have the answer for you. And this is slightly related to a recurring feature on our show, which is virtual reality. We're going to be playing a game that has both a virtual reality and non-virtual reality component to it. It is Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice.
Okay.
Which apparently has a VR mode, and I'm going to play it in VR. Keenan, are you going to play it in VR?
I might check that out, since it's apparently quite a short game.
It's only like 6 or 7 hours, so
Okay, cool.
shouldn't be that much of a problem. And then, Owen, are you going to play it in VR, do you think?
Maybe.
Maybe?
Probably.
Yeah?
I've been meaning to get my headset out. I bought a new game for my VR headset.
Oh.
Budget Cuts is out.
Yeah.
Oh, it
I've been
release?
like tempted to just slide that into your Steam account because
The-
I want to play it.
The full release is out, and it was like half off on the winter sale, so
Oh, yeah.
I bought it, and I
Yeah.
haven't played it yet. I have a couple other VR things I haven't played yet that I bought. I bought the DLC for Bridge Crew that makes it Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Yeah.
Fight the Borg.
I almost bought you budget cuts for Christmas, Matt, but that felt really, like, disingenuous when I'm gonna buy it for you and then
This is for me!
and then demand your headset. Like, that didn't feel right, so I didn't.
I mean, for Christmas that would have been awful, but any other time.
Yeah, no, like, for fuck you, it's January. I can do that.
Oh, fuck you, it's January? Fuck you, it's January!
Yep.
It's my favorite holiday. Anyway.
I'm at my new job and we have a board up that tells you, like, birthdays in January. It's January! And my brain immediately, when I saw the it's January slide, was just like, oh, yep, fuck you, it's January.
Red Letter Media has a higher ratio of funny to not funny moments than Mad TV ever did, but it's pretty similar.
Yeah.
And also, it's the same level of, this is not funny at all, this is not funny at all, oh, what the fuck, my sides exploded into space.
I am consuming it at the same rate I consumed Mad TV.
Right.
Which is when my friends are watching it.
Hilarious. Anyway.
Shout out to Will Sasso, though. You deserved better.
Yeah. I mean, I think he's doing fine.
He was the best part of... He was the best part of Super Troopers 2.
Was he?
Yeah.
Oh, I still haven't seen
Okay.
that.
I might have to see it for that.
I gotta check that out.
I want to see what modern Will Sasso's doing.
And then, okay, so this is the last part of the show. The best part of the show. The part you've all been waiting for. Owen,
What's up?
what's Sam Fisher doing this week?
Is he versus Fallout or the Courier?
Sam Fisher's been shot in the head by Benny. And is walking the wasteland and probably killing everyone that he comes into contact with.
Yeah, I mean, like, sneaking guns are very powerful.
Well,
in this
not
game.
everyone he comes in contact with, but, like,
He has his own sense of justice.
Yeah,
Sam
he's
Fisher.
like, he probably got Boone. He's probably hanging out with Boone.
I think Boone and him, like, really...
Yeah.
You shot your wife. It sucks.
Is Sam a sneak melee guns character?
I think he's I don't think the melee, honestly.
Do you think he just has a takedown mod?
I think well, no, because I think sneaking with guns is so powerful.
Oh yeah,
in New
ludicrously
Vegas,
powerful.
that he doesn't need melee. Like anyone who uses melee in Fallout New Vegas is just doing it because they like doing it.
That's fair, and like
or because they want to.
My experience of Sam Fisher is a lot of grab a dude, choke him out.
Yeah, it's gonna be him running around with a Sounds 10mm pistol, and
that's fair.
Just blasting dudes in the head.
He'll upgrade to a 12 when he can.
He'll probably do the independent New Vegas ending. He'll probably do fine. You know, like
as the Lord of Vegas.
Yeah.
All right. How do you think he deals? I have additional questions. How do you think he deals with the boomers?
The boomers?
Yeah.
Probably doesn't deal with them.
He just leaves them alone?
Yeah.
I think the one thing Sam Fisher is afraid of are explosions.
Okay.
Well, also, like, they don't do anything. Like if you don't do anything with the boomers,
they're just there.
They don't do anything to you. There's no reason to go fuck with them unless you want something from them.
You literally have to storm into their base.
Right.
You literally have to for them to be mad.
You literally have to do turbo and run past all the explosions.
Yeah.
I made a lot of turbo. So.
Oh man, I was doing that side quest in the Boomers where there's this dude and he's like, "Oh, I look at this girl through my binoculars all the time." You know.
I know how this ends. It's
oh yeah, and or what is it? What is the quest exactly? It's like
so I see this girl through the binoculars, and I think sometimes she's looking at me. Can you go check her out? She works for the Crimson Caravan.
Yeah. And so you go to the Crimson Caravan, and I like tell her, and then like just because I'm a dipshit, just completely forgot that like she can't just go to the Boomers on her own. So she just ran up to the place and got shelled to death.
Okay.
The doctrine ruined his love.
That's a fucking Tarn Adams moment.
Yeah.
I have multiple other questions. How does Sam deal with the Brotherhood? What do you think? How do you think he?
I think that base is designed for him as a level.
Well, so first of all, I bet he agrees with the dum-dums in the Brotherhood.
Okay.
With is it Harden?
But do you think he even because like for me, what happened with the Brotherhood was the Brotherhood. I ran into one of their patrols and I killed all of them. And so next time I went in one of the bunkers, a guy came out and he goes, "You're going to put all your weapons in this bucket or I'm going to ventilate you with this Gauss rifle."
Sure.
And I was like, okay. So do you think like that's what happened and he's just like, fuck that and just ventilates that dude or like what?
No, I bet he would be down with the Brotherhood isolationists and just be like, no, like you should stay in your bunker with all your guns. That's a great idea.
Okay.
Don't worry about it. I'll go deal with it.
So how do you think he feels about the White Glove Society.
I don't know. I think like I say as someone who's only played one Splinter Cell game.
That's the part I love about this.
Well, I'm asking not
the
just you,
different
but
levels.
I'm asking, like, you get to set the scene, and obviously your word is like law here because you picked the game. But like, Keenan can weigh in as well as the Sam Fisher expert.
I don't know.
In our
I don't know.
group.
You probably kill all the great cons, but
I think it's all it all comes
Basically,
down to
I'm asking you all the questions that Yes Man would ask Sam.
okay.
I think-
About all these.
I think
so,
Sam builds himself like a volatility matrix in his head, and he removes anyone below a certain or above a certain threshold.
Okay, so who's above that threshold? Like, is the Enclave above that threshold?
Definitely.
Okay.
Although maybe Sam is an Enclave guy,
Right, because that's my thing. Is it is
Like,
the legitimate U.S.
yeah.
government? So would he be just like, I have a boner immediately and I have to do everything you say because you're the Enclave? Like what?
Sam's problematic when it comes to political problems.
So here's the thing: though, is the Enclave remnants like are not in any way apparent. Like the only way you even learn that they're Enclave remnants is if you hang out with Arcanon enough,
Right.
you know, and like go down that whole quest line. I would bet he probably doesn't even cross paths with them.
Yeah. I think Sam might buddy up with the NCR, if I'm being honest.
Okay.
I think he needs a certain amount of order.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm
swayed by that.
Especially
So
since
it's
like
like-
he and Boone are definitely going to peanut butter each other's jelly. Like,
So it's like personal liberty, capitalism, and overwhelmingly like gear stuck
Mhm.
bureaucracy. It was like
Absolutely.
that's his jam.
And also like Boone and him are a perfect team because he sneaks in and knifes someone while Boone shoots everyone else. Like it's a thing. Yeah.
Man, now I want to play like a relationship between Sam Fisher and Boone that's like in the video game similar to the relationship between this snake, the headhorn snake, and the Quiet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Talking about Big Boss.
Well, I'm talking about
No, he's talking
Punished
about-
Snake.
yeah,
He's talking about
Punished
not
Snake.
Ahab.
Yeah, not Ahab. Moby Dick.
He's talking about Ishmael. Yep. Okay. Bye, everybody.
Hellblade sent you a sacrifice.
Our theme music is made by my good friend Benjamin Busey. You can find his SoundCloud at soundcloud.com/basicbenji206.